All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage of the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway for the sixth round of the NASCAR Cup Series season in 2026. And here this week, we should have a fun one. A lot of tire fall off at Darlington Raceway, but maybe even now more so than ever with this next gen car because of the horsepower increase from 675 to about 750 horsepower for each of these Cup Series cars this evening. Appreciate everybody tuning in here this afternoon as we get things kicked off with the live commentary coverage. As usual, on our pre-race, we will go through some NASCAR trivia before going into the actual predictions for who I think will run well in today's race. We'll highlight the Fantasy League, and then we will obviously go through the starting lineup and point standings before the drop of the green flag, which will be slated in just over a half hour from now. Thanks for everyone tuning in, and shout outs to those of you that were in the chat before the start of the stream. We've got Bam Hall, Lou Man, Solomon Lee, Robert Goodrich, Marcus Villarreal, and many others that were in the chat prior to the start of this stream here today. For trivia, we will be doing a NASCAR Darlington-based quiz, and we actually did one during the practice and qualifying stream yesterday in that downtime between practice and qualifying. So we will find another Darlington NASCAR quiz for today. Yesterday's we did the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series winners all time at Darlington. And we did get above the average score, got 80% of the 79, and we only had 7 minutes to do that. So that was a very quick quiz. And I think this week we're probably going to do top 10 finishers from Darlington Raceway. And let me make sure that we have the years here. So it'll be from 1990 to 2017 was the last year that this quiz was updated on Sporkle.com. So 1990 to 2017, anybody who has finished in the top 10 in a race at Darlington. And I would assume that this is the Southern 500 if I had to guess, because it looks like it's only one race per year through those years. And some of those years there was only one race, but back through the 90s into the early 2000s there would have actually had been two races a season. So I would assume it's the full date only, or single date obviously for the ones that were single dated. So I will get the chat up on my phone here in a second so that way you can play along at home. And our goal is to get above average score. If we get perfect, awesome. We have had a perfect score twice this season already in the first 5 weeks. And we also have gotten average score at the very least every quiz we have done on the channel so far this NASCAR season. Wayne Martin, thanks for tuning in also. And I'll give you guys a shout out. Hunter, also welcome to the stream. Let's get into this as I already hit the start button. We're going to go with former winners first. I'm going to go Kyle Larson first and foremost. Denny Hamlin, former winner, Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle, Mark Martin, Labonte, Terry and Bobby, Jeff Gordon, if I could spell. Still can't spell. There we go. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Casey Kane, Truex was the 2016 winner. Regan Smith, former winner. Mark Martin, I already got him, my bad. 2008 was Kyle Busch. 2003. So I'll put Ricky Craven in here because Terry Labonte won the fall race, the Southern 500 that year, but Craven won the spring race and actually gave me Craven. So very confused as to what years are what. Dale Jarrett, 3-time Darlington winner. Jeff Burton has won here before. Ward Burton as well. 2002 was Sterling Marlin. Let's go. But Harry Gandy did not win here before. Ernie Irvan just through the 90s. We've completed a quiz like this with top 10s before, and I started with the 90s and then kind of worked my way outward. So let's try to get these 90 names. I got Michael Darrell Waltrip, Kyle Petty, Allison, My spelling is off, by the way. Davey Allison, Alan Kulwicki, Morgan Shepherd, Bobby Hamilton, Jimmy Spencer. That was more 2000s, I think. Chad Little. Nope. Ted Musgrave. He's on here a bunch. Mike Skinner. Not on here at all. Earnhardt, of course. Dale Earnhardt. Senior, we're going to get Dale Jr. with that. Lake Speed. Joe Rutman. Nope. Nope. Let's try Robert Presley. Parsons. Andretti. John Andretti's on here. Put Eric Jones, but I was thinking more like Buckshot Jones. Texas Terry, yep. Ricky Rudd, another former winner here. Derek Cope. At the 1992 winner. Oh, I didn't put Elliott. Bill Elliott, yep. So he was a 92 winner. Rick Mast? Nope. Mast not on here. But Steve Park, he's on here. Johnny Benson? Got Allison. I've got the Parsons. I didn't put Ryan Newman yet. Trying to work more through the 90s first. We're at 219 of 280 already. We're less than 5 minutes into this 20-minute quiz. So we have a great pace. I know Elliott Sadler was runner-up here before. So we got him. Paul Menard. Not on here. Clint Boyer, I know, is on the list. We're going more 2000s. Joe Nemechek, yes. No, he's not on here. Wow, Joe Nemechek. No top 10s. It's crazy. Brian Vickers. Go AJ Allmendinger. No. And I know McDowell's not on here until 2022. Let's try the Dillon. Austin Dillon. No tie. Suarez? No. Let's try Bowman. Blaney. Got Dave Blaney. That's right. He was third behind Busch and Craven that 2003 finish. And he was on here again, too. I saw him pop up in the late 2000s. Had a good run. Sorensen. Let's try Mears. Okay. Schrader. Kenny Schrader's on here a ton. Bodine. Oh, yes. Jeff Bodine. Always slips by me. I did not try JJ Yaley yet. He's not on here. Stremme. Like Tony Raines. Jeff Green. Dang. Leffler, no. Rudiman. David Rudiman not on the list. Trickle. Got a Dick Trickle. David Reagan. Trevor Bayne. Bayne not on here. Reagan was. Stewart. Tony Stewart. I did not name him yet. Gilliland. Not on here. Quapple. Travis Quapple's on the list. Brendan Gaughan. Not on here. Tried McDowell already. I did try Leffler. I assume you have the Biff. Yes, I do have the Biff. I don't see anybody that has named anyone in the chat I haven't named yet. Just rolling back through that now just in case. I might have missed anybody. I think I put Cool Wiki already. Yeah, I did. There's not many names from the 90s left. There's a few of them. But not a lot. Really, there's only 29 names total. Already tried him. Sorensen. McMurray. Jamie McMurray. He was pretty good here. He's on here 4 times. Montoya on here at all? Yes. Ambrose on here. He is. It's 258. About Hornish. Nope. Keselowski. Oh my goodness. Logano. Got a couple big ones there. Through the 2010s. I think I've got all the 2010s. Yeah, 2010s are done. 09's done. 08's done. 2000s are done back to 2004. Let's go Johnny Sauter. Nope. Okay, so 2004, 9th place. We've got 2 of them in 2001, and we've got an 02. So 03 is complete, but every year from 2000 to 2004 minus 2003 we still have left. I do have the Bush Boys. Danica's not going to be on here. We already got the 2010s. Hutch Strickland. Not on the list. Still have 11 minutes. We've got time. Jimmy Spencer, I already tried, and he was on here. I do have Mike Skinner. I've got John Andretti. Kenny Irwin. I did not have yet, but he's not on here. 266 of 280. We've got about 10 minutes to go, so we're halfway through the quiz by way of time. And we only have 14 names left. Rusty Wallace. How did I not name Rusty yet? Wow, that took care of a lot. That was 8. That was 8 of them right there. So now we're at 274 of 280. I forgot about Rusty Wallace. That was a lot of the 90s. Not all, but a lot. I've got every year from 1990 to 94. So we're looking at 95, a 6th place finish in 95, 4th in 98, runner up behind Jeff Burton in 99. Who was runner up behind Burton in 99? See, that was the one that ended under caution, I thought, in the rain. And they almost crashed because it was raining. They didn't throw the caution until kind of late. I do have Dale Jarrett already. I tried Randy LaJoy. Jerry Nadeau. Oh, that might be it. No, it's not, though. It might be it. Nope, not quite. Runner up in 99. Burton won in the Exide Batteries car in that race. Who finished second? I remember it was him and Gordon battling it, but it's saying Gordon finished third. So who else was in the fight for the win that race? I only remember Burton and Gordon battling each other. And this was slightly before my time. Same year I was born, but I don't think I was born yet. And I'm just trying to go back from like watching. That's bothering me that I can't figure it out. Jeremy Mayfield. There he is. He was runner up. Thank you, chat. Hunter, specifically, dropping the Jeremy Mayfield. He's on here 4 times, so now we only have 2 names left. We have a 6th place in 1995, and we have a 10th place in 2000. So 95, 6th, 10th in 2000. Kevin LePage, he was the 10th in 2000. So now we only need 1995, 6th place. Who's a name from the 90s I have not named yet? Joe Nemechek is not on here. I do have Craven. Got Waltrip. I don't know who this could be. 95. I did try Elton Sawyer. Silently, I didn't say I did, but I did put Elton Sawyer. Out of ideas, says Steve J. 1995, 6th place. We have 6 minutes to try to figure this out. Steve Grissom? There it is. Yes. Who said that in the chat? Robert Goodrich. Perfect score. 3 perfect scores in the first 6 races of the season. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Average score is 87%. That's very high. But 100% this week. Top 10 finishers at Darlington from 1990 to 2017. Awesome job all the way around, ladies and gents. All right, so back into the more pre-race version of today's live commentary stream. On NASCAR.com, we're going to take a look at our fantasy league. You can join the fantasy league on the NASCAR.com website or the NASCAR mobile app. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season if you win a regular season and or playoff championship. So, as we head into this week, we are 5 races into the season. 21 races still to go in the regular season side of things, where we have, again, 2 different champions. That's my team from last week. That's not my team this week. We'll get to that in a second. I'm sitting 14th in the league after 5 weeks with 1,005 points. Hercules Harrigan out in front with 1,119, a 19-point lead over Track Squirrel. And then Freaky Fast 4 with 1077 in third. Troy the Great, 1063 in fourth. Inside Uranus rounds out the top 5 at 1059 in our league. And again, that is overall. Last week in the league at Las Vegas, Monster Jam X10 was the highest points getter with 299. Hercules Harrigan in second. Obviously, our current points leader, 289. Same for Track Squirrel. Same amount of points. Also for EC23, Sauce Mafia, and Austin Dillon Fan. You guys might have had the same team all the way around, honestly, in that 2nd through 5th place position. A 4-way tie for second and about 10 points out of the lead. So now we go to the roster for this week and who I think are going to run well. Toyota's dominated in practice yesterday, just as they did with Las Vegas on the intermediate track the week before. The difference between Vegas and Darlington is the horsepower. It has increased. So you kind of have to factor in how drivers have ran at both COTA, Phoenix, as well as Las Vegas because of the horsepower. Tyler Reddick, he ended up winning in the first 750 horsepower race at COTA. He starts on the pole. Honestly, he looked fastest of any driver in practice and qualifying. He's definitely going to be on my team today. Kyle Larson's my number 2 pick for the race win today, and Denny Hamlin's my number 3, so I'm going to leave them in the lineup for the 2nd consecutive week. If I'm looking to take somebody out, Bubba Wallace is on the front row. He does have the 2nd most points this year because he is 2nd in the point standings. And because of that, I played him last week at Vegas, had a solid top 10 performance. I think he can do that again here. Interesting note with Wallace, he has finished in the top 10 at 5 of the last 7 Darlington races. If I look for somebody else who might be able to beat him today, maybe a Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski looked very good in practice and qualifying. We usually don't see Brad qualify well, so if he qualifies well, he's got to have a fast car. When Keselowski won this spring race at Darlington 2 years ago, he qualified in the top 4. It is also something I want to keep an eye on today of who starts near the front. Bubba Wallace on the front row. And we have seen the winner of the 4 Goodyear 400s, so the 400-mile Darlington spring races. All 4 of them in the next gen era have been won by somebody who started in the front 2 rows. So you got Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace in row 1, and then you got Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson in row 2. I think based off that metric, I'm going to keep Wallace in. I'm going to put Chase Elliott in my lineup in replacement of Christopher Bell, and I'm going to take Byron out and put Brad Keselowski and start him in the garage. So that is going to be my fantasy team. Head-to-head picks this week. You got Denny Hamlin versus William Byron. Hamlin, my number 3 for the win. I don't have Byron in my top 3 for the win, nor on my fantasy team, so taking Hamlin. Elliott versus Bell is interesting. Bell's had a lot of track time this week, and I'm sure he'll be quick, but taking the track position, again, starting in the front 2 rows, is Chase Elliott. Brad Keselowski, Ty Gibbs is a very tough battle because Keselowski, I think, is going to be kind of the dark horse for the win today. But Ty Gibbs in that 54 car is on a hot streak. He has had 3 straight top 5. So of all the head-to-head matchups, that might be the toughest. Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez. I'm taking Chastain. He has the best average finish of any driver in the last 5 races combined at Darlington. He's had extra track time this weekend running all 3 races. And Daniel Suarez has only had 1 career top 10. So that's a pretty easy head-to-head matchup if you ask me. I'm taking Chastain over Daniel Suarez. So that's my team for this weekend. And again, 14th this week entering the play. So 3:08, your fantasy lineups will lock. It is 2:54 Eastern time, so you got a little over 10 minutes there if you have not locked in your fantasy league team. So again, that's on the NASCAR.com website and or the NASCAR mobile app. Now we'll highlight the point standings coming into this weekend through the first 5 races of the season. Tyler Reddick has led in points ever since he won the Daytona 500 back in February. And obviously won the next 2 preceding races at Atlanta and Circuit of the Americas after that. He continued his top 10 streak at Phoenix. Last week at Vegas, his first finish outside the top 10, but because he had such a monumental points lead, his lead is still 61 points over his teammate Bubba Wallace, who was second in points from Daytona through the 3rd race of the year. After race 4, Ryan Blaney with his win jumped up to 2nd, but Blaney finishing outside of the top 10 last week at Vegas. Bubba Wallace having a top 10 was able to jump back into 2nd place again. So Bubba sitting in 2nd there. No top 5s on the year, but 4 top 10s tied for the most in the series alongside Tyler Reddick. And as far as stage points go, nobody has scored more stage points than Bubba Wallace this season. That is a huge factor, an emphasis on qualifying well, as Bubba has done again this weekend, qualifying in 2nd. Ryan Blaney sits 3rd in points, and Denny Hamlin, who just got his first win of the season last week at Las Vegas, is 4th in the standings as we head into race number 6. Chase Elliott with a good qualifying effort this week also starts in the front couple rows. Maybe he can go for his first win at Darlington Raceway. He's 5th in the standings. Going through the rest of the point standings now. Again, the top 16 will make the chase on points alone at the end of the regular season. Christopher Bell sits 6th for the 2nd consecutive week. Kyle Larson up 3 spots after a week ago to 7th. Same for Byron now to 8th. Chris Buescher 9th. Ty Gibbs rounds out the top 10. He had a slow start to the year, the first 2 races on the super speedway ovals of Daytona and Atlanta, and then has rattled off 3 straight top 5s to get him up to the top 10 in points. A great job by Ty Gibbs, who missed the playoffs a year ago. Joey Logano, a down week last week in Las Vegas, just slow from unload in practice. He was slow in practice this week, qualified a little bit better. I'm a little hesitant on Joey running well this weekend. Could be in danger of losing more spots as he sits 11th in the standings. Brad Keselowski and all the RFK Fords looking very good so far this weekend. He sits 12th with his teammate Ryan Preece in 13th. Then you got the Spire Chevys, Michael McDowell, Carson Hocevar 14th and 15th in points. Shane Van Gisbergen drops 11 spots after a very poor effort last week in Vegas. He was 5th in points going in. That's just how tight the standings are, knowing we're only 5 races into the season. You're going to see it for at least a couple more weeks, a tight gap between really 2nd through 16th. I mean, you're within 1 race worth of points from 16th to get into the chase in 2nd because we're so early in the season. And outside of Tyler Reddick, we've only had 2 other drivers to win a race this year. Just on the outside looking in, you got Daniel Suarez 17th in points. AJ Allmendinger doing double duty this weekend is 18th. Zane Smith 19th, who has 2 top 10s to start the year, and he's actually finished in the top 15 in 4 of the 5 races. And Ross Chastain 20th in points, a slow start to the year for Ross. Just 1 top 10 to show for, and that was a top 5 effort a couple of weeks back. So we'll see what will happen this week. Other drivers who are further back in the point standings after a slow start, Kyle Busch, still looking for his first top 10 of the year. Maybe it comes today. He has had good runs here in the past 3 straight top 10 finishes at Darlington. So RCR looking actually pretty good this weekend. Both Busch and Dillon starting the top dozen. Austin Dillon a couple spots behind him in points, 24th. Also looking for his first top 10 in 2026. Chase Briscoe had a top 10 last week, but did not score hardly any stage points. As you see this number, 8 stage points scored in the first 5 races of the year for Chase Briscoe, who made the championship 4 a year ago. Again, a slow start. He did have a second place runner-up finish at Atlanta. Had he been 1 spot ahead, that would have been another 25 points he could have earned. If he had won that race versus finishing second, he would be in the 20th spot in points rather than 26. So that is a huge jump. But as for Briscoe, I'm not worried about him making the chase at all, but you don't want to be at the bottom of the chase standings if you can help it to have a better chance of winning the title. You want to be closer to first at the end of the regular season. And so Briscoe's got some work to do. He's had a lot of pace. He did last week. He came from 2 laps down to finish in second. Just got to not make any errors both on pit road for himself and the pit crew. He had a speeding penalty last week, and then he had a tire that was not secured tightly to the race car. He had to stop in a teammate's pit box to get that secured. So both himself and the pit crew did not do him any favors. That's why he was 2 laps down in the race in stage 2 and was still, with cautions, able to get back to the lead lap. Unfortunately, it wasn't until stage 3 because he didn't get any stage points, but he was able to go from just getting back on the lead lap with like 60 laps left to finishing in the top 10. He didn't qualify particularly well, but this is a great racetrack for him. He's won the last 2 Southern 500, so he's kind of the biggest name that is outside of the top 16 in points, really. Chastain, Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, those are kind of the 3 you're going to be looking forward to see if they can make a climb. I guess Connor Zilisch as well, because he is that darn good on road courses. If he can get a couple wins in the summer, I'm not counting him out of the chase yet, but he's going to have to show some improvement on the ovals. He's been very wishy-washy with the oval races this season by way of how good he is running. There's some weeks he's on the cusp of a top 10, and then others like last week at Vegas, he was running about 30th the whole race. So we'll see what kind of a car he's going to have this weekend at Darlington. And obviously, this is a very difficult racetrack, especially for a rookie, let alone the fact he only has 1 race here entirely in the top 3 series because he is only 19 years old. So that's going to make this weekend even that much more tougher for a guy like Connor Zilisch. But we'll see. He's obviously going to be fun to watch over the years and as he continues his development in Cup also. Modern Genetics, John Barber, Alpine fan. Thanks for tuning in. Frank Powers, Bond 1771. I don't think I shouted any of you guys out yet. For those I have not shouted out, again, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody, and if I did, sorry for it. Got a lot of you in the chat already. Our like goal is 150 likes for the Cup Series live commentary streams. We are at 60 concurrent viewers watching. Obviously still have not dropped the green flag to begin this race yet today. For visual purposes, today's race will be on Fox Sports 1, and obviously Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick are going to be in the booth. And I am going to get the race going here so we don't miss any more potential pre-race ceremonies. And if we are that close to getting any of them, I'll let you listen in to the actual broadcast. Remote location again for this weekend's live commentary stream. So no stage diecast showing this week, but when I do get back home, we're going to be doing double duty when it comes to the diecast showing over the next couple of weeks. Tyler Reddick on the pole for today's race. Drivers are in their cars already, just kind of waiting for the command to fire engines. Once they do, we'll go through that starting lineup for today's Goodyear 400. Zane Smith will get the last spot, 16th. For the chase, that's going to be interesting. He could. He's having a great start to the season. If a front row motorsports team like that, and especially a young driver like Zane Smith, is going to be able to get that high up in the running order, I think he's going to have... I mean, he's got to keep the consistency up that he's doing right now. What he's doing now, I think, is good. He's got to stay out of trouble. Had he not wrecked at Phoenix, that's really the only difference maker between him being top 16 in points and not. But when you run middle of the pack, you kind of put yourself in those positions, especially in a late race restart situation. Got to get out of harm's way as much as possible. All right, sounds like they're going to be turning it trackside for the command.
Darlington Raceway, to say the most sports and motorsports, please welcome two members of the NASCAR Hall of Fame of 2026, Kurt Busch and Harry Gant.
Engines are fired, and there you have it. Harry Gant, Kurt Busch, two new Hall of Famers to the class of 2026 in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, giving the command to fire engines on what usually is a throwback weekend for NASCAR with the spring Darlington date. Now, not necessarily a throwback weekend, but we do have a few throwback paint schemes in the field this week. We got Carson Hocevar in the Wrangler Dale Earnhardt Sr. throwback scheme in that number 77 Spire Chevy, and obviously the Roush Fenway Keselowski teams, the 60, the 6, the 60, the 6, and the 17 all running Greg Biffle throwback schemes this week, as well as I believe AJ Allmendinger may be also running a Greg Biffle throwback. So, on to the starting lineup for today's race. Tyler Reddick going to be starting on the front row for this one. It is his second pole at Darlington Raceway in his Cup career. He'll be going for his first win. He has finished runner-up 3 times in his career at Darlington, including last year in the fall. Outside of the front row will be Bubba Wallace's second career front row start at Darlington Raceway, and he has finished inside the top 10 in 5 of the last 7 races at the track. In row number 2 will be Chase Elliott, who has the best Darlington finish of 3rd in 2024, and Kyle Larson, who is the 2023 Southern 500 winner. In row number 3, the RFK Ford's Brad Keselowski, 2-time Darlington winner, and Chris Buescher, who has a Darlington best 3rd 3 years ago. Ryan Blaney was 5th last spring. He will start 7th on the inside of row 4 today, and Kyle Busch is a 2008 Darlington winner. And row number 5 will be the 5-time Darlington winner Denny Hamlin and Austin Dillon, who has a career best runner-up in the 2020 Southern 500. And row 6 will be Daniel Suarez, who has the best Darlington finish of 10th in 2022, and Austin Cindric, who finished 11th and 12th in both races a season ago. William Byron, another former Darlington winner, one of the 8, will be on the inside of row 7. He won the 2023 spring race, and Riley Herbst making his 3rd start at the track. Justin Allgaier for the 3rd consecutive week in the 48 car at Hendrick Motorsports, won the O'Reilly race yesterday. He'll be starting inside of row number 8 today, alongside Carson Hocevar, who was 9th in last year's Southern 500. And row number 9 will be Ryan Preece, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., row number 10, Zane Smith, who was 12th and 13th in both Darlington starts last year, and Michael McDowell was the Darlington best 8th in 2022. In row 11, John Hunter Nemechek, 4th last fall, and Christopher Bell, triple duty this weekend running the Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup Series races. In row number 12, it's going to be Chase Briscoe, the back-to-back Southern 500 winner in recent years, and another 2-time Southern 500 winner, Eric Jones. Ross Chastain, who has a best average finish of any Cup driver in the field in the last 5 races here, starting on the inside of row 13 alongside Josh Berry. In row 14 will be AJ Allmendinger doing double duty this weekend, and Ty Gibbs trying to go for 4 straight top 5 finishes, already a career high of 3. Joey Logano, another former winner of the track, as he won the spring race in 2022, will start inside of row 15 alongside Noah Gragson. In row 16 will be Todd Gillen making his 9th Darlington start, and Connor Zilisch making his Darlington debut. Shane Van Gisbergen will head the inside of row number 17 as he finished 20th and 32nd in both races a season ago, and Cody Ware will be making his 8th start at the Lady in Black. In row number 18, Cole Custer looking for his first top 10 in 2026, and Ty Dillon looking for his first top 10 at Darlington Raceway. And rounding out the field, Timmy Hill in row number 19, starting 37th, first Cup start for Timmy Hill in 2026. That is your starting lineup for today's race. 8 different drivers have won here of any that are in the field this afternoon, and 4 of those 8 drivers have won at Darlington multiple times. Denny Hamlin, the most of any active driver, with 5 wins, 2 for Briscoe, 2 for Keselowski, 2 for Eric Jones, and then 1 apiece for Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and William Byron. So that is your starting lineup for the Goodyear 400. And as we also take a quick little look At the race analysis, 90 laps are going to be scored in stage number 1. Stage 2 will be 95 laps. And stage 3 will take us all the way to the end from there, 107 laps. So relatively even stage lengths today, and we will see a lot of pit stops under green, under caution, especially if we get long enough green flag runs. More than likely going to see 2 pit stops for tires in each stage under green in the event of no cautions for incident.
Give me a little.
Brady has been the most consistent short weekends. They're hopeful they'll keep that streak alive. This same rules package we've been talking about today ran 2 weeks ago at Phoenix. Well, the winner of that race was Ryan Blaney. Now, yesterday in practice, they had to make a lot of changes to get him comfortable. The task at hand today is going to be big. Watch for lots of adjustments all day long.
All right, continuing with our Goodyear starting grid, row 5, Denny Hamlin, last week's winner, and a 5-time Darlington winner, and Austin Dillon, who started top 10 here the last few trips. The rest of our lineup will be on the pylon. Let's skip all the way down to row 12. That's where we'll find Chase Briscoe. Here's Regan Smith. Well, Mike, it's been an interesting start to the season for Chase Briscoe. Tons of speed, good execution, but terrible luck early on. Well, last week they had that same speed. Unfortunately, the execution was not there. Cost them what could have been a really solid result somewhere inside the top 5. That execution problem continued yesterday. Qualifying struggles through turn 1 relegated him to a 23rd place starting position. But if there's a track this team knows they can dig out of the hole, it's right here at Darlington. Chase Briscoe won the past 2 Southern 500s at the fall here and led 309 laps last time we were here. They feel good about what they got today. Thanks, Regan. All right, more horsepower, less downforce. Our crew chief, Larry McReynolds, breaks it all down for you. Well, Mike, you have hit it hard. Race number 6 of the season. This is the 3rd race we'll be running this low downforce, more horsepower package, but it's the biggest oval we'll be on with it this year. So let's go to our Toyota Camry cutaway car, and I'm going to show you some of the elements that involved. Let's start under the hood. The tapered spacer with engine horsepower. Last year here at Darlington, 670 horsepower. But look at today, the size of those holes. Today, 750 horsepower. Now let's go to the rear of the race car and let's look at the comfort elements back there. Let's start with the rear spoiler that's on the back of the deck lid. Last year here, 4-inch tall rear spoiler. Today, 1 inch shorter, only 3 inches tall. But a big deal is the rear diffuser. Last year, look how big that rear diffuser is. The strakes, the fins. But today, a simple rear diffuser, much smaller, fewer strakes and fins. Now, there's less downforce in the front as well, but the effect with horsepower and rear downforce, 80 more horsepower, 400 pounds less rear downforce. That's a 40% reduction. Guys, drivers have always had their hands full at Darlington. This takes it to a whole new level.
Well, you're exactly right, Larry. With that more horsepower, that's great. But the thing that is really good about what we're going to see today is less rear downforce. And at Darlington, that creates a complete handful for the drivers that they had with all the downforce, Clint.
What you're trying to say, buddy, is we're in for a treat, folks. This is going to be awesome. When Darrell Waltrip retired as a driver, he was 3rd on NASCAR's all-time win list. He won the Southern 500 driving his own car here in 1992. And for 15 years, we sent him in all kinds of crazy places as he and Larry Mack and I called the races for Fox, and then another 4 years with Jeff Gordon. Thanks for making the trip up to the booth and joining us.
Well, it's good to be here. You know, I look at this racetrack and I think, how did I ever win?
Guys, I have to let the boogity start the race instead of myself today. I just have to.
Package they have to run, it's going to be even tougher, so we'll see.
You and Stevie doing well? Glad to see you both here.
Oh, no, we're both here. We came this morning and we've been over to the tent, hanging out with all the older drivers, some of the younger ones. And you know what I like about this track? You don't race the track. You race the cars. You race the cars. If you race the track, you'll wreck. Ooh, and you don't want to do that.
Well, Rankin's bad. Rankin did a lot, DW. All right, I got pretty good at it. As we did for 19 years on Fox. Would you do us the honor of getting this going?
Well, I'd love to. I'd be more than happy to.
All right. It's giving me goosebumps. That's fantastic. Green flag in the air. We're underway in the Goodyear 400. Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace racing for the lead through the first turn for Michael Jordan and 2311 Racing. Reddick winning the first 3 races of the year, trying to go for his 4th today. Looks like the odds-on favorite after being fastest on the long run in practice yesterday and qualifying on the pole. But Bubba Wallace is hanging in there pretty strong with him. And at the end of the first lap, it will be Tyler Reddick leading, but Wallace couldn't stay to the inside until the exit of turn 4. He was door-to-door with the 45 car all the way up until then. Settles in nicely in second while Reddick leads. Single file in the top roughly 7 place positions. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin are door-to-door battling for 8th. Down the back straightaway into turn 3, Denny Hamlin with the slide job on the inside will pull up well clear of Kyle Busch on corner exit. And now another battle inside the top 10 between Brad Keselowski and teammate Chris Buescher. They're door-to-door off turn 4 and headed for turn 1. Down at the bottom of the racetrack, Keselowski with a slide job of his own and will be clear of Buescher into the first turn. 3 laps into the race already, Tyler Reddick leads, Bubba Wallace second, Kyle Larson in third, Chris Buescher fourth, and Brad Keselowski rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Again, a 90-lap opening stage. Because of the tire fall-off, we are more than likely going to see 2 green flag pit stops in the event of no cautions in each of these 3 stages. Maybe even 3 for some drivers. We might see a 2 versus 3 stop strategy as well. Roz, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the hat, as always. On 1771, thanks for tuning in. Terry Lewis, welcome to the stream. Yeah, Darrell Waltrip still got it. It sounded like the old boogity. I wasn't going to do it myself. I had to let him do it for the initial start of today's race. Oh boy, close quarters racing. Denny Hamlin had Daniel Suarez with an aggressive move in turns 3 and 4, hanging on the inside. He'll side draft him down the front stretch. Denny kind of lagging back in these early laps, looking to take care of things on the long run. He's one of the best, if not the best, driver in the NASCAR Cup Series today at trying to manage his tires on low-grip tracks like this. So he's getting passed by a couple of cars early, but that might be to pass them back later in the run. Ryan Blaney, another driver to watch out for today as far as drivers who are usually good on the long run. Although Tyler Reddick was the best of the long run in practice yesterday, again, Hamlin and Blaney seem to be the best at these low-grip racetracks in the next-gen era, especially on the intermediate versions of those tracks. Reddick starting on pole, obviously good on the short run because he's out in front. Clean air advantage obviously there as well. The drivers who won both of last year's races, or I should say the drivers who led the most laps in both of last year's races, went on to win the first 2 stages of the race, dominated by William Byron in the spring and dominated with the win in the fall in the Southern 500 by Chase Briscoe. We have not seen anybody start outside of the front 2 rows and win this race in the spring Darlington event, and in 6 of the 8 next-gen races at Darlington, a race has been won by a driver starting in those front 4 rows. A driver has started in the front row itself, first or second in 4 of the last 8 races, including also the last 2 races with the Gen 6 car in 2021 were both won from the front row at Darlington as well. So track position definitely matters here for qualifying, and we'll see if that's going to factor into the race again today, just as it did for last year. And obviously many more, 6 of those 8 next-gen races. Chase Briscoe's first win in 2024 at Darlington was an outlier. He started mid-pack around 15th. And then the other Southern 500 victory that Kyle Larson had, he also started outside the top 10, which was 2023. A big loose moment. I believe that was Ryan Preece in the 60. Who was trying to make a pass on William Byron a couple laps ago. On the inside, up off turn 2, caught that dip in the racetrack with the slightly newer asphalt to the very older asphalt. And despite it catching sideways from underneath him, he was able to keep it off of not only William Byron, but kept it from over-rotating the car down to the bottom and maybe spinning head-on into the inside wall, which we've seen so many times in recent years here at Darlington. Turn 2, that exit of turn 2 could be calamity corner today. Loose moment for William Byron on the outside of Ryan Preece the following lap when he tried to make the pass in turns 1 and 2 in that same area of the track. That time it worked out for him. Reddick out to a 1.4 second lead. And even if you dominate the race in laps led, like I mentioned last year, William Byron went on to lead over 200 laps to start the race consecutively out of 293. Still did not get the race win. And then Tyler Reddick obviously off to a good start here in this year's race. Also, yesterday in the O'Reilly Series race, Kyle Larson won the first two stages without not leading a lap. And despite leading nearly 100 laps in that race yesterday, he did not get the race win. It was Justin Allgaier with a late race pit stop, won the race off pit road, was able to get out in front. Got to be able to take care of business not only on the racetrack, but on pit road as well. Lap 12 this time by at the line. The intervals between those top five positions run with Tyler Reddick at a 1.5 second lead over Bubba Wallace, 2.6 seconds to Kyle Larson in third, 2.9 seconds at Brad Keselowski in fourth, and Chris Buescher 3.5 seconds out of the lead. That is the top five in the running order. Side-by-side commercial break on Fox Sports 1, their first of the race. Other shout-outs, we got JoJo, Earl Arnold Jr., welcome to the stream. In recent laps, early laps, of course, through this race. We'll take a look at our voting poll for the first time in the stream. 51 votes have been casted for who you think will win the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Tyler Reddick at 16% of the votes. He's my pick for the win today. Kyle Larson at 29%, Denny Hamlin at 12%, and 43% of you taking somebody other than those top three. So wide margin taking somebody other than Larson, Hamlin, and Reddick, who are my personal top three. And I'm curious, of that 43%, who you guys have slated to win. So down in the chat, if you voted for somebody other than Hamlin, Larson, and Reddick, I'm curious to see who you voted for. All right, so if we do see two green flag pit stops in each of these stages, probably looking at about lap 30 being the first set of pit stops if they try to go two versus a one-stop strategy. I don't think we're going to see a three-stop strategy until at least stage 3. That's the thing with this 400-mile race. Each of the stages are a little bit too short to almost try the three-stop strategy. If it was a Southern 500 and we had that extra 100 miles, then that would add about 25 laps to stage 1 and stage 2, and then the final stage will obviously be a little bit longer than the 107 right now. We may see a third pit stop in the final stage, but although it's most likely there, I think we're going to see that more so in the fall than the spring. Brad Keselowski catching up to Kyle Larson in a battle for third place on track. Brad pulling into that clean air pocket down on the inside of the track before sliding up and diamonding the corner on through 1 and 2. Larson starting up near the wall, then kind of getting that cut middle off down to the bottom. He was running that lane towards the end of the O'Reilly race yesterday, and already running that in the early going of today's race as well. He was pulling that off more in turns 3 and 4 than he was in 1 and 2 in yesterday's race, but doing it on both ends of the racetrack for the time being, as Brad Keselowski makes the pass for third. Reddick's lead still 1.8 seconds over Bubba Wallace.
For the air to move around, and so it's you have to really you got to really take care of yourself here.
Glad you said that. Well, we already had our pole sitter, the leader of the race, Tyler Reddick. He's having trouble with the power on his car. Had to turn off the AC and all that stuff. I know you didn't have AC, but how'd you guys stay cool?
Tough. Just
Well, you didn't have the right side window on these tracks, and you didn't have that window net trying to fill up the whole window. And you were just worried about aerodynamics, were you, that you had to have the car all closed off with no air coming in it?
but we slowed down about 4 seconds.
Well, there's that. And these fellas will slow down too. There's going to be quite a bit of fall off as we go through this first long tire run.
Let's hear this audio from Reddick here.
All right, 12.7 volts.
That's pretty tough. Yeah, well, I think that's okay for a while, and I think that these batteries will last for a while with everything off. But
They caught it. They caught it early. Luckily, it's 100 miles less than the Southern 500, but that's a long ways to go without having something happen. As far as lowering the bolts.
So Tyler Reddick has led from the well drop of the green flag. Dave Marcus would wave the green flag today. A lot of the NASCAR alumni, past champions and stars are here.
Mike, I'm here.
Walter is of course here.
Guys, I tell you who else is here, and he's making his way all the way to the back. Had to go to the back to replace the toe link that we bid, Kevin.
His second one.
And we're already up 8 positions. Hosabar moving up through the field.
He had to start in the back because he got into the wall yesterday, and they had to replace a right front upper control arm. And when you do that, you forfeit your starting spot.
Well, they all better get going back there because Reddick has clean track and he is running them down really quick, being able to get to the back of the pack. Larry?
Yeah, we're 20 laps in, Kevin, and as we see, the pace has already slowed down about 2.25 seconds. One thing I've watched Tyler Reddick do for about the last 8 to 10 laps, he's a little smoother with the throttle, but he's not being able to go wide open with the throttle. He's only going about 80 to 90%, where obviously I'm going up against right now, watching Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson. They don't stay 100% long because they can't, but he's not really going wide open throttle.
Yeah, and that's where he beat them in practice. Whether it was a short run or a long run, he was beating those guys in practice through turns 1 and 2. His car was a little bit freer, but he would keep that car loaded up with partial throttle. Where everybody else would try to spike the throttle halfway through the corner, he's holding that partial throttle all the way to the exit of the corner and just taking that partial throttle mid-corner speed.
Now, in these 23 laps we've run, lap times have slowed about 2 seconds from the fastest lap of the day so far. Chase Briscoe started 23rd, won here in the fall. He's picked up 5 spots. They're trying to climb out of a point standings hole, and we listened in on their team meeting this morning.
Right. So, yeah, based on what we saw yesterday, right now it still kind of looks like there'll probably be a one-stop through the first 2 stages. Then we just got to, pick our way off and not shoot ourselves in the foot and go backwards at any point. I feel like we had a decent car in practice, and obviously we plugged it in the fence in qualifying, which wasn't ideal. So, just got to have a smooth day and get ourselves where we need to be in points. So, I know we were really good on pit road here last year, so if we can repeat that, we'll be in good shape. So, right, let's have a good day. Cheers.
Here it is. Crew Chief James Small was talking about strategy and trying to gain track position, maybe get some points during the stages. And he says, boy, in this point system, he told our Bob Pockris, they need points, but trying to do that is more risky than it's been in the past.
We're riding along with Toyota on board here with Chase Briscoe, and he's moving up through the field in a good way, and I like how he's doing it, Kevin, hugging the bottom and going where they're not. That car's pretty fast. You tell me I need a maneuverable car. I see the 19.
Absolutely. You see contact right there with he and Austin Dillon, but we expect this 19 car to contend before the end of the day. Just had a little trouble, as you heard his crew chief say, plugged it in the fence there in qualifying.
Yeah, cars are already slipping and sliding. We're only 25 laps into the run. We're going to be seeing that all afternoon long. Tyler Reddick out in front. We'll go through the full field running order rundown in these first 26 laps complete. Bubba Wallace in second, Brad Keselowski third, Kyle Larson in fourth, and fifth is Chris Buescher. Ryan Blaney in sixth, seventh is Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez eighth, Denny Hamlin ninth, and Kyle Busch rounding out the top 10. Austin Cindric in 11th, Riley Herbst 12th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 13th, Ryan Preece 14th, and William Byron 15th. 16th is Eric Jones, 17th Chase Briscoe, Austin Dillon 18th, Christopher Bell 19th, and Michael McDowell in 20th. 21st, Zane Smith, and Ty Gibbs 22nd, Justin Allgaier 23rd, John Hunter Nemechek 24th, Ross Chastain in 25th. 26th place is Josh Berry, Noah Gragson 27th, Carson Hocevar 28th, Connor Zellage 29th, and AJ Allmendinger in 30th. 31st, Cody Ware, Shane Van Gisbergen in 32nd, Todd Gillen 33rd, Joey Logano 34th, and 35th, Cole Custer. Ty Dillon at 36, rounding out our full 36-car field. The last car in the lead lap, then Timmy Hill rounds out the 37-car field. In 37th, he is a lap down. Biggest movers in the forward direction since the race started. Eric Jones up 8 positions, 8 spots also gained for Ty Gibbs. Most spots backwards, Carson Hocevar technically had to start at the rear. He too would be up 8 positions from the very start of the race today. 6 spots gained for Chase Briscoe. Very tough to pass here at Darlington. Chase Elliott losing 4 positions already in the top 10 from starting 3rd back to 7th. Kyle Busch backwards in the 3 position category. 8 spots lost for Austin Dillon after starting 10th. So those are the biggest movers both forward and backward in the running order through the early laps. Uncommon Truth, thanks for tuning in. He's pulling for William Byron in that 24 car, another former winner at this racetrack. Right now, Byron's struggling a bit. Qualified 13th, kind of maintaining right around there, still 14th place for the 2014. Jones up another spot, by the way, now to 9th, as he continues to press forward, the 2-time Southern 500 winner, one of which with Legacy Motor Club in the Next Gen Race 2022 in that Southern 500. The lead for Reddick, 2.1 seconds, 2.5 seconds to Brad Keselowski in 3rd, and 5.1 seconds to Kyle Larson in 4th. Still about a 10th faster than Bubba Wallace at last lap, and lap over lap he's been about a 10th quicker than his teammate.
As these cars slot and lap times 2.5 seconds from the quickest laps of the day. Let's go to the road. Jamie.
Mike is the score. 2 times. Just some 3 and 4 beautiful paints came on the 33. Just right direction. Josh.
Hey, Hamlin, a 5-time winner here at Darlington. You remember just how confident he was going into the race because of how good that car was last week at Vegas. The opposite this week, they did not feel good about what they were able to get the car to yesterday. Too tight. Came over the radio once again saying it's tight middle, tight corner, tight exit. They're going to have to work on that thing to get where they need to be. Brad Keselowski running in the 3rd place right now, having a great start to the day in that Greg Biffle throwback scheme. And of course, Greg Biffle's so very good at this racetrack, but Brad Keselowski is as well 2-time winner here. And right now, he is using a lot of driver IQ to be meticulous on the racetrack, as the crew chief told me that they would have to do today. Car right now just a little bit free, but he is happy with it and turning some very good lap times, guys.
Leaders got into race traffic, and it's Joey Logano. Logano by 29. And he's dropping 5 spots.
Wow.
This is exactly what we thought was going to happen. You're going to have some guys that hit it like the 45, and you're going to have some guys that completely miss it like Joey Logano. You saw that car qualify in the back of the pack, and it just has not gone forward at all. Actually gone backwards, and you hear right there the back of the car just not in the track.
Heroes like nothing's changed. Is there anything worse at Darlington than a car that won't grip the racetrack at either end?
Well, what the problem is I think some of these guys are running the same setup they ran here before. And I think that's probably messing with the car. Because I think you have to change the setup because the car is looser. You got less spoiler, you got more down, you got more horsepower. I think they need to adjust the car to the track rather than the track to the car.
It's one of those things where they had to try to change the car to the aero pieces that they have on the car this time around. So it's a pure guess until you actually get them in the race and start racing them. Larry?
Yeah, Kevin, this stage is 90 laps. So if you split it right down the middle, that's lap 45, which is 10 laps from now. And I think that's what a lot of people's thinking. That way they get advantage of both sets of tires in this run right here. But I do believe what you might see here in about 5-6 laps, you may see some starting to come a little bit early.
Well, I think I'd pit early. if my car was not very good, I'd have to pit early and give me some tires and try to tighten the thing up.
Hey, you're a driver. You got 4 tires as many times as I can give them.
I mean, you gotta have them. Tires.
I'm also behind, and that's going to help me. We got to find an advantage somewhere, Kevin. Get me out there. Get me in early. Let me capitalize on some speed.
You got 2 guys that are going to pit first. The guy that's struggling to pass somebody, or the guy that's just struggling because his car is so bad, like Daryl is saying. So you don't want to keep losing spots. And the Reddick is running so fast that if you keep screwing around, you're going to get lapped.
Justin Allgaier is in, and Blaney is coming. To your point, Jamie?
Ryan Blaney coming down pit road right now. They called him in a little bit tighter than yesterday as the feedback for the 12 car. Air pressure adjustment as you see him working on the right side there. A couple others came down with him. Guys working on the left side for Blaney. Been pretty quiet overall. No change. It's going to be needed throughout this race.
Saw him wrestling both of those tires at the front of the car. Got lucky that they didn't get away right there. And this is what you don't want. Don't get the pit road too hot as we see more guys coming.
Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson on pit road. But you got to get in right now, Mike, because if your car is bad, you got to get in. You got to adjust on it because it's a long race. Even it's 400 miles. But it's nonetheless, you got to get in and adjust on that.
And just don't get laps. That's the key, right? Like, just keep yourself on the lead lap. That's the most important thing.
The most important thing is don't make a mistake, and that's so easy to do at Darlington. The pit road entry to this place is by far the hardest we have. Austin Cindric, William Byron, Ryan Preece on pit road, and Ricky Stenhouse. All right, guys, just keep an eye on this track map. We're going to obviously keep track of the leader. We're going to keep track of who pitted early, who short pitted, long pitted. We have to keep track of this.
Well, and if you're the leader like Tyler Reddick is, it just keeps getting better for you. You have a huge lead. Now you can wait for everybody to pit and pit later than everybody else, so your tires are fresher than everybody's on the track.
And the first of the leaders, Brad Keselowski, gave up third place to make his stop.
I think that's a good move. I think coming in right now is a good time to come in, get some tires, some the car a little bit, and hopefully you'll be better for the long run.
And in Brad's case, his car was so good on the long run, I think he could take advantage of some guys by forcing them to pit to make them run a couple laps longer.
Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain in the pit lane. Bubba Wallace is in. So is Ty Gibbs.
Well, Mike, I've enjoyed being up here with you guys, but I'm going to go and watch the race from the infield.
You're going to go to the pits.
No, I'm not. I'm not down there. I'm going to the yes. And that's one right there.
To have you and Stevie, your daughter and son-in-law, join us. Great to have you back at the track, and thanks for getting us started off in fine style.
You got it, buddy.
Thanks, Hero. Thanks, TW.
Thanks, Daryl.
The incomparable Darrell Waltrip. Great to have him join us as part of NASCAR's Alumni Weekend here at Darlington. Busch in the pit lane. Again, these are green flag stops scheduled. First stop of the day. We've been green since the start. Ty Dillon is in.
Larry, all right, the 12 car short fitted him a little bit, kind of led the charge coming on, but Reddick's still out there. What are we thinking here?
Yeah, I'm not a bit surprised. I feel like they want to take full advantage of both sets of tires. They're going to run close to that 45 lap mark, which is only 3 laps from now, splitting it right down the middle.
And he's just in control of everything right now, Clayton. He's got the best pit stall. He's got the best car, and he had a massive lead, so he can just keep playing the strategy game of being in control by having those fresher tires, because he can give up so much time that he had built up in the lead.
Chase Briscoe is in. Chris Buescher just got 4 fresh Goodyears and a fill-up of Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol. Riley Herbst, Noah Gregson, Eric Jones, Cody Ware. Making stops in green. So that will leave 10 of the first 11. Oh, here's Daniel Suarez. So 10 cars at the top of the board, still on the racetrack.
And you see Ryan playing. Going to get his lap back right here from Reddick, which is obviously what you want to do in case the caution comes out. But he's got to make hay while he's got those fresh tires on there. So we see Reddick getting ready to pit. Oh, you see the 6 car, Brad, have to check up right there. So Reddick trying to slow down.
Now he's got Zilich in front of him, too. He's trying to pit. This could be problematic for that leader. I know he had a big pad, but let's see where he comes out.
A lot of traffic there in the pit lane. Chase Elliott has made his stop. Todd Gilliland in, Michael McDowell, and here's Josh.
Well, for Chase Elliott, you saw him just come in the pit. Came over the radio, said that car just a little close rears too much in that 4-tire.
For Tyler Reddick, they decided to do exactly what Larry McReynolds said. They were going to split it right down the middle to take full advantage of both these sets of tires. As for that battery issue and alternator issue, he's been updating the teams. It's down to 12.5 as we see trouble on the right side right there. This is going to be a slow pit stop.
The car itself has been extremely good for Tyler. He's happy with it. But about 10 laps ago, he gave them one other update, said it's starting to get hot in here.
Well, it all unraveled right there on the pit stop, so he's going to wind up losing the lead, most likely right here.
And look, and who is that? That's to Keselowski, but Blaney, look how much ground he made up by short pitting. Great job. That's why the business is made in those pits. Big time problems for the 45.
And that's exactly what we've been talking about. This is a tough day. Tyler's hot in the car. The pit crew guys jumping over the wall. They've done a great job on pit road all year, but just having that issue, and it always seems like it comes on the days when your car is the fastest.
So 30-some, as Joey Logano puts, 30-some of the best drivers in the world are getting beat by a guy with a broken femur who is still recovering, but boy, is he motivated. That's Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, and Brad looks very, very good this week, and honestly, the best that we've seen him in a car this year so far. Again, he was fast in practice, that's one thing, but to qualify well, which is something that isn't of his strong suit, that's another. When he did win the spring race here a couple of years ago, he qualified in the top 4. This year, he qualified 5th, so he's right up there near the top 4, and here he is leading for the first time today. He was on the first group of cars that came to pit road. Obviously, Tyler Reddick, who had that big lead, was running long, and because of that, Reddick has cycled out of the pits it was 8th place. He's already passed Byron back for 7th. And looking at the lap time difference between Tyler Reddick and the leaders right now, Tyler Reddick, that last lap, even in traffic, was able to put down a 31.141. Keselowski had a 31.798 that last lap. A lot of other drivers in the top 5 running about 32.0s, like Blaney, Bubba, and even Kyle Larson, a 32.2 that last lap. So Keselowski, better than the cars that are up at the front of the field right now. On the equal strategy to him, but not as good as that 45 car who has even fresher tires and is looking to get all that track position back. Now, the difference between Keselowski and Reddick is about 13.5 seconds, so with only 40 laps to go in the stage, we'll see if Reddick can actually capitalize off of that and get back to Keselowski by the end of stage 1 if we stay green. Obviously, Reddick's going to need it to stay green. One lead change so far, and that was, of course, Keselowski taking the lead after Reddick had ran long from the lead already. Reddick led for the first 45 laps, and Brad Keselowski now has led the last 5 and counting. 1.9 second lead for Keselowski over Ryan Blaney. 2.8 seconds to Bubba Wallace in 3rd. 3.5 seconds to Kyle Larson in 4th. Chris Buescher is 10.3 seconds off the lead in 5th. Austin Cindric in 6th is 11 seconds out of the lead. In 7th is Tyler Reddick, 12.6 seconds out of the lead. Chase Elliott, 15.7 seconds back in 8th. William Byron, 16.1 back in 9th. Daniel Suarez rounds out the top 10 at 17.6 seconds back. So that is the live leaderboard. Through those top 10 positions in the early laps of today's race. Lap 52 of 90 in stage 1. Lap 52 of 293 total in the race. We'll take our first break. You're listening live on KRC. We got just over 100 concurrent viewers watching. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in today. Irina Sayre, Matthew J. Perry, thanks for tuning in. Regine Huddleston, welcome to the stream. Haven't shouted any of you guys out yet. Blind Sport Lover, thanks for tuning in also. Do much better than the actual TV commentary. Well, I greatly appreciate that. I do my best with what I've got available for me.
To complete is the race leader, and there is the sequence of where everyone is going. Pit stops. Nick led the first 45 laps. He came to Larry. It all came undone. Yeah, I still believe they had the right strategy, but what's the right side right here? You see the right side tires are going on, and right there he's going to have to jack it back up because the right front lug nut is not on. The good thing is they acknowledge it, but that pit stop, 16.9 seconds. So now, instead of maybe being right up there, back battling for the lead, he's back in 6th. He's over 11 seconds behind the leader right now, Brad Keselowski. Another advantage to short pitting, as far as we run now, if the caution comes, even the guys that pitted late in that cycle, everybody's coming back to pit road for 4 tires. Well, let's look at somebody who's been moving forward
and doing quite a job of it. Ty Gibbs, that white and blue Toyota.
Doesn't surprise me a bit, Kevin. Extremely fast when we were following along with all these Toyotas and the Gibbs cars. But that 54 car, Ty Gibbs, was extremely fast. Had trouble in qualifying, misses marks a little bit.
Yeah, well, we thought he had the second best car yesterday in qualifying. He put himself deep in the field. Just take care of it. Don't stick the car in the fence. Don't take a chance that you don't need. Just use the speed for the car that the car has and make good clean passes, and he's done that.
And Ty Gibbs is on a roll. He's finished in the top 5 in the last 3 races.
And you keep putting yourself in the top 5, you're going to win. All 3 of these Gibbs cars right here.
That's all of them.
Yeah, well, Briscoe is, he is definitely moving forward. As good as Ty Gibbs is doing, Chase Briscoe goes right by him right there. So his car is quick. Jamie?
Ty Gibbs, yes, he had a good car yesterday. They did work on it, but in qualifying, he we apologize to them. But I talked to his coach this morning. As good as anybody. We tell us we have to the first 10 laps. After that, we're going to be finished, guys. Then we'll get through. They're very confident. So watch for that.
Thanks, Jamie. For more on our pole sitter, Tyler Reddick, Larry.
Yeah, Mike, I actually thought about this when he was running Park Throttle, but I wasn't sure. But now I'm pretty sure because we're hearing it and seeing it over his radio. They have been talking to him about the voltage. Right now, 12.7. We figure it's going to be higher voltage when you're running less throttle. So as the run goes and you're using less throttle, the voltage should go up a little bit from less throttle to the electronic control unit. So there may be more method to the madness of the Park Throttle.
Well, you hear him working the throttle right there, and as this run goes, he's just going to partial throttle this thing more and more. But this is the end that he beats him on down here through 1 and 2. He's just so good. Here's throttle. He holds a steady throttle, as you've heard right there, instead of going all the way to wide open. A lot of guys will go partial throttle, rush a little bit of full throttle, back off to turn back down the hill. But Tyler has just had a little bit different strategy through turns 1 and 2, and it's made for good speed for his car.
Brad Keselowski, since the pit stop, has led the next 14 laps.
Can it be? It's been 64 races since his last win, Kevin. You know where that was?
Right here.
Right here at Darlington. That's right.
Well, we know that Brad is really good here, and we know that the RFK cars qualified better this weekend than they had. And we felt like that was what was holding Brad back, just not having that track position. And the other things that affects, it affects your pit stall selection, but the adjustments on your car that you make when you're racing in the front. You're going to beat the guys at the front. You got to race with them all day to be able to keep up with the racetrack and the changes you need on the car.
This has been a big weekend for RFK. They honored Jack Roush at their headquarters earlier this week for his lifetime achievements. And all 3 RFK cars are celebrating the life of Greg Biffle here today at Darlington. A very special race for this team. A lot of motivation.
29 laps to go in stage number 1. Brad Keselowski, the current race leader. Driver the number 6. Ryan Blaney, 3.5 seconds back at second. Bubba Wallace, 3.9 back in third. Kyle Larson in fourth at 4.4 seconds out of the lead. 10.1 back is Tyler Reddick in fifth, and Chris Buescher 11.9 seconds out of the lead in sixth. Seventh is Austin Cindric, 13 seconds back. 13.9 off the lead for Chase Elliott in eighth. William Byron in ninth is 15.7 seconds off the leader. And Daniel Suarez 16 seconds back in 10th. That is your top 10 in the running order. We are caution-free through the first 63 laps. We only had one caution for incident in the 147-lap, 200-mile O'Reilly race yesterday, and that came after lap 120. So we are so far green here today. No caution for the stage breaks yet because obviously being a longer race, our first stage won't end until lap 90, and then lap 185 will be the end of stage 2. For those of you watching the stream, greatly appreciate all tuning in. Federico Sanchez, new nanny, thanks for watching. I don't think I shouted you two out yet. Billy Kramer, also welcome to the stream. $88 people have voted for who you think is going to win today's race in the chat poll for the Goodyear 400. 51% of those votes taking somebody other than Reddick, Larson, or Hamlin for the win. 12% for Hamlin, 20% for Larson, and 16% of you taking Tyler Reddick. AJF, also welcome to the stream. Our like goal is 150 likes for today's stream, and we are currently at 74, and we're only in the first stage, so thank you so much for hitting that like button. Continue to do so we can get to that goal. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We're live for all of the NASCAR Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series races all season long, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. We'll be back at it again next weekend in full. Trucks will be off again next week at Martinsville, but we're going to be on it for the O'Reilly and Cup Series races. So Saturday and Sunday we'll be doing some live commentary action next week. Start times will be listed later on in the stream. And obviously in the community tab on the YouTube channel, I'll post that later in the week for a streaming schedule for next weekend. All right, so Brad Blaney, 1-2, front of the field. Gap is 3.2 seconds. So Blaney's closed in a bit over the last several laps. But still a pretty healthy lead altogether for the 6.
Bigger radius turns than the others. The challenge this place presents. Leading the challenge, Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney, 1 and 2 for 4 right now. Most wins of all time, the great Nick Jarrett, who once won the Southern 500 by an incredible 14 laps.
Wow.
4. Bill Elliott, 40. Joey Logano and Brad, the winningest active drivers. The next Ford to win a Cup race will be Ford's 700th victory of all time. Keselowski the leader, Ryan Blaney in second. Keselowski started 5th, Blaney 7th.
We knew Ryan Blaney was going to be good on the long runs. The only question that I challenged Clint on yesterday was what was going to happen to him on the short run. And I think as we talked about, those fast laps are a lot slower on race day, and it's put him right in the ballpark. But I don't know that I had on my bingo card Keselowski, Blaney, Wallace as being the first 3 cars on the scoreboard right now.
Well, here's Bubba Wallace, that purple car in 3rd. A little wiggle there. Darlington, one of its best tracks.
And really, he's had a great approach this weekend. He kind of laughed at Tyler Reddick's qualifying lap. He's like, yeah, that's just Reddick doing Reddick things. And I think his approach was not far off and still conservative to not hit the wall. Reddick was going for broke, and he didn't care if he hit the wall, and actually did hit the wall in qualifying. So Bubba's doing a nice job.
You talk about an approach and talking about Bubba, he has been squeaky clean, just not making mistakes and being quiet on that racetrack, and that's what it takes.
Kyle Larson in 4th is the first Chevrolet in the race. Larson running up right where he started after this first round of pit stops, the September 23 winner here.
Yeah, and I can't believe that we're talking about the race streak that Larson has of losing, but it's very interesting to listen to Tyler Reddick talk about how hot he is inside the car. We hear Larry talking about fuel strategy. We know he's got the alternator issue, but he's still got a really, really fast car and keeps making that time up and making his way forward. So Reddick's still in this thing, just got to keep the car together and get those stops to be clean on pit road.
6th for RFK, Chris Buescher, the grinder. Top 10s in 5 of the last 6 races here, Josh.
When you're putting up very few tracks with this push, and I talked to Scott Lewis Fuji earlier today. Certainly they voted yesterday where they expected to be. They think about where they got to the car today. They even bring it up during the race. Said the car was a little tight when it got. They told him they're doing a great job. People research. Maybe the whole top bit so far today.
So the next 2 forwards in the top 10, including Austin Cindric. Blaney in 2nd, Cindric now in 7th.
The one interesting thing I will say is we look at Austin Cindric right here having a nice day running 7th. The Fords are typically tight. They typically have a tighter balance in traffic, just in general. And I think with everything that we're talking about, with the rear of the cars not being where they need to be for all these guys, I think that their natural balance of the Ford kind of leans towards what this package is as far as being too loose in the back from a balance standpoint.
Here's Chase Elliott in 8th. He started 3rd, his best qualifying effort ever here.
Well, we know Chase Elliott does a nice job all day of just keeping himself in the game. He was very happy with his car from practice. Actually, you mentioned how well it was driving, and when the driver's comfortable, that usually goes a long way in the confidence category. But hasn't got off on the right foot to start the race. Lost a few spots, but just keep yourself in the game. Don't get up against the wall. Don't make any mistakes until we get to the end of this thing.
And that's exactly what you're seeing with his teammate, Brad, right there. I think you're right. When you talk about a new package, you look at simulation, everybody's kind of running around at the same time, is what I mean by that organizationally. You see all those Gibbs cars running together. You see William Byron and his teammate Elliott right here. A lot of figuring out, a lot of sorting out as we're learning the balance of these race cars, and particularly these Chevrolets with a new body. Byron won this race 3 years ago. Right behind him, another Chevrolet. This would be Daniel Suarez, who started 11th. Regan?
Well, Mike Daniel Suarez continues to have a good start to his tenure with Spire Motorsports. He and Crucial Trying Cars have been very good together, good chemistry, good communication. As for the race car right now, started the race on the tight side. Continues to be just a little too tight for him in turns 3 and 4. We have those front tires now ain't quite as good as he'd like. Jamie.
A little further back in the field, all the Gibbs cars racing around each other. First into 20, just not where he wants to be right now. It all started with the way they unloaded yesterday. I talked to Adam Stevens this morning, and he said they were just off, just pretty too tight. They weren't able to move the needle too much, and he said it's hard to get confidence in a race car on such a high degradation race track. They knew they were going to be up against it today. He's one of those drivers that picked on the earlier side, lap 39.
Back to the front, and Brad Keselowski, who's now been out front at Darlington for the last 31 laps.
All right, so Brad Keselowski, the current race leader, has a 2.9 second advantage over Ryan Blaney, then a 5.6 second lead over Bubba Wallace in third. Tyler Reddick up to fourth place at 5.8 seconds out of the lead, and he just passed Kyle Larson, who is now in fifth at 6.5 seconds back. Now, just as I was talking about it, Tyler Reddick makes a pass for third place on Bubba Wallace as well during the commercial break. So Reddick up to third and just over 5 seconds out of the lead. I don't know that he's going to have the lap time or the pace to necessarily catch Keselowski. The lap times are starting to even out between himself and the leader. He may catch Blaney for second, but I don't think he gets all the way up to the 6th car. And again, it was a slow pit stop for that number 45 car. So I don't think there's much of a worry. They have a faster pit stop as long as they don't have the electrical components go completely bad and his car stops running. I think he's going to have a really good shot to win this race still. He was the favorite coming in and looking very, very fast at that. Losing the track position because of that lengthy stop. You can't have a 16.7 second stop, I believe is what it was, and expect to still be good. Because you're not waiting for fuel at Darlington because of pitting 40 less laps into the run on a 1.33 mile oval, strictly for tire purposes that you're having to pit that early in the run and or split the stage in half. And with that being said, Tyler Reddick making his way back through the field pretty thoroughly at that. He was in 8th place when he first cycled out of the pits, so 5 positions already gained since the stop over the course of about 35 laps because he pitted right dead even in the middle of the stage at lap 45. Another update at the chat poll. 94 votes now have been casted. 50% of you taking somebody other than Hamlin, Larson, or Reddick for the win. Brad Keselowski, the current leader, falls under that category. 12% of you taking Denny Hamlin, 23% for Larson, and 15% for Tyler Reddick. We're going to take another break. You're listening live on KRC. 9 laps to go. Stage 1 of the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Two career Darlington wins for Brad Keselowski, one of which a Southern 500, which was 2018. And he also has the 2023 spring race win from 3 years ago. Trying to break 2024 spring race win, from 2 years ago. And that was his last win in the NASCAR Cup Series, so it has been almost 2 calendar years. That race at Darlington a little bit later in the season than race 6 with this year, but even still, almost 2 calendar years, and he's looking to go back to victory lane again. I think it'd be kind of some cool pictures to take in victory lane, him in a cane, him with a cane in victory lane, and it's like, yeah, that's right, I beat these guys. With a broken leg. He's had a great start to the season, even with that fracture in his femur. And again, by far the best run he's had so far this season here this afternoon. Reddick has trimmed his gap down to about 4.5 seconds out of the race lead. Ryan Blaney a little less than 2 seconds back all of a sudden in second place as he tries to get better on the long run. The other RFK Fords outside of Keselowski, Chris Buescher in 6th, and Ryan Preece sitting in 11th. So pretty solid all the way around. Buescher a top 10 in 5 of the last 6 races at Darlington as well. And as for Ryan Preece, he's actually never finished in the top 10 at Darlington, so not one of his better racetracks. So him having an 11th place run today and up 6 spots from where he qualified, that's a solid start for Ryan Preece. Remember, he went to victory lane at the Clash, Bowman Gray Stadium. So although he hasn't had a points paying win this year, he has been to victory lane, and now RFK between the 3 teams trying to get their first points paying win of the season. They were just showing Denny Hamlin on screen. Hamlin scrubbed the wall up off the exit of turn 4 that last time by. He is struggling in the early laps. Same for Chase Briscoe. So very odd that Joe Gibbs Racing not off to a good day. 15th and 16th is where those 2 cars run. There are no Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas in the top 10. The only Toyotas that are in the top 10 are the 2 2311 cars in 3rd and 4th place, Reddick and Wallace. As they are top of the point standings, 1-2. My fantasy team's kicking butt right now, I'll tell you that much. I know it's early, but I like my team. Wallace, Reddick, Larson, Keselowski, all in the top 5. Only guy missing from that is Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin having an off day, quite surprised by that. Especially at a track he's won at 5 times. And a win a week ago at Las Vegas. All 4 Gibbs cars running between the 14th and 17th place positions on the racetrack. Kind of all on top of each other mid-pack. Hamlin, Briscoe, Gibbs, and Bell. They are on the lead lap still, so that's good. Last car on the lead lap is actually 20th place Austin Dillon. Michael McDowell currently the first car lap down in 21st. Hoping to stay there so he can get the free pass at the end of the stage. Gibbs is up 12 positions from the start of the race, though, today, so he is moving forward. Another opportunity at pit stops, and every pit stop you make, you're that much closer to making another adjustment that could fine-tune this race car and make it faster over the course of the day. Get the fresh tires back on it and go some more. Now you just in return have to hope you have a fast enough pit stop you don't lose any spots. And if you can gain some, bonus. Austin Cindric, Chase Elliott get a battle for the 7th place position on track. Elliott dropped back about 4 or 5 positions in the first run of the race. He has maintained ever since. And looking to get a spot back on the 2 car, who actually had pretty good long run pace in practice yesterday with Cindric. Best of the Group 1 drivers. Qualified just outside the top 10, but he's having a good start. By far the second best Penske car is Joey Logano has been a lap down since the early going of this race just by way of lack of speed. Logano back in 33rd. Despite the other 2 Penske cars, Cindric and Blaney running inside the top 10. In 3rd and 7th. Reddick made a pass for Blaney for 2nd place, and he has gotten within 1.5 seconds of Brad Keselowski, but that is all the closer he's going to get as we have now reached the end of stage 1. So Brad Keselowski going to win the first stage of the race today as he wins also his first stage of the season. We haven't seen him score a lot of stage points because of poor qualifying efforts this year, but his best qualifying effort of the season leads to his best stage finish of the season first. We'll see how he can continue that. Pretty even cut first half of the stage, led by Reddick from the pole. Second half after the green flag pit stops, led by Keselowski. 45 and 45, they split evenly through the first 90 laps. And they finished 1-2 with Keselowski in first, Reddick second. Third in the stage was Ryan Blaney, and then fourth was Bubba Wallace. Kyle Larson in the number 5 was fifth. Chris Buescher in sixth. Seventh is Chase Elliott. Austin Cindric eighth. Daniel Suarez ninth. William Byron rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position awarded to the top 10. 10 points for first, all the way down to 1 point for 10th. God Rides a Hardly, thanks for tuning in. New NASCAR fan. Well, Pamela G has a question. Any drivers from Minnesota? Off the top of my head, I don't believe so. I don't think there's any active drivers from Minnesota in the Cup Series. I don't know many of the hometowns of the drivers across like the Truck and O'Reilly Series, but I know from the Cup Series, I don't believe there is one from Minnesota. Interesting, good question. Really, there aren't a lot of drivers from the Midwest in general. East Coast, West Coast, or down south. And any of the Midwest-born drivers, there's a few from Michigan. Eric Jones, Brad Keselowski, Carson Hocevar. Blaney grew up in North Carolina, but born in Ohio. Chat's going to have to let me know. I don't think there's ever been a Cup driver to win from the state of Minnesota, to be completely honest. Only one from Oklahoma, yep, that being Christopher Bell. He's the only driver to ever win a NASCAR Cup race from the state of Oklahoma. So he unanimously is the best NASCAR driver ever to be born in the state of Oklahoma. Sawalch is from Minnesota. All right, that's cool. Yeah, see, I didn't know about some of the younger drivers from the O'Reilly and Truck Series. There you go, William Sawalch. Part-time driver in the trucks, full-time in O'Reilly at Joe Gibbs Racing. 89 likes on the stream. Thank you so much for that. Just over 160 concurrent viewers watching. Pit stops coming up for the second time today as we have reached the end of stage 1.
Got my mind right. It was almost refreshing to have to learn something different. I knew how to do everything else with the old car. I didn't need to practice. I didn't need to go to the simulator. I could tell you what you could do in about 2 laps. And, you know, when it changed, I had to decide, do I want to keep doing this and be a part of this process, or do I want to just go on into the sunset and do something different?
It's the all-new Fox Sports digital show Speed with Harvick and Buxton, fueled by Poet. Subscribe to Speed on Fox, on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Jamie.
Well, Mike Ty Gibbs has been on a hot streak. 3 straight top 5 finishes coming into Darlington. And a big part of that success, of course, are these guys, the pit crew that includes his own cousin. Let's meet Team 54.
Jackson. Front tire changer, Ambassador Christian, football coach. Go Lions. Daniel Smith, rear changer, 60 plus cup wins and 2 championships.
Nate McBeck, tire carrier, former linebacker at Holy Cross.
Braxton Brandon, Jackman, Mooresville, North Carolina. I love my family.
Ian Anderson, Fuller. I'm a former offensive lineman at Ball State University. It's my 10th year in the sport.
Came to pit road as soon as the field was lined up behind the pace car. The pits are not opened yet for the end of stage 1, but that voltage problem is what they're working on here. They lifted the hood, checked and made sure that the belt that drives the alternator was in good shape. It turned out it was. You'll see a thumbs up. And so now they're going to change and put a large battery in the car, and then the one that was in it, there's the change being made on from the right side window. Reddick is now back in the pits.
Well, they've got a fast enough car. If they could just make it survive to the end, they can get themselves back up through the pack. Right now, there's 20 cars.
I wasn't sure about this strategy, but I think Kevin made a great point. Only 20 drivers on the lead lap. Let's do it early. Let's get it behind us because, to your point, we've got a fast race car. But remember, the Gen 7 car, the battery's over there inside the car beside the dry shaft tunnel, no longer is in front of the left rear tire where you have to take the tire and wheel off and everything.
Well, I don't know what's going on there, but I know size matters, and that second battery was a lot bigger. I'd say I'm more comfortable with that one making it to the end.
Here are the pit crew rankings coming into Darlington, a combination of factors. With Christopher Bell's team up top. Now look at second and third there because that's going to be interesting on pit road. Chase Elliott and Chase Briscoe both lost their pit selection because of failing inspection twice. So they've had to take last, whatever was left in the pits, and they're going to be side by side in the midst of a lot of traffic there. Jamie.
And Ty Gibbs, we just met his pit crews. Looked like a good stop from here. Just too tight. He touched the wall. He wants to be tightened up at one end and loosen up at the other end. You hear that so often, Josh.
And for Chase Elliott, said it turned better during that last run, but still the car lazy up front, having to compensate too much in the back. That second brake pit crew went to work to fix it up again. Brad Keselowski spent most of that run just protecting tires, in particular right front.
Hey guys, look at
Blaney's got trouble.
Yeah, he had to stop in another pit to get a lug tight.
Sure
He
did.
was going to win the battle off pit road and had to stop to get that lug tight.
And I'm glad you said that because our leader, Keselowski, had trouble.
Also, Kyle Busch is still on pit road. They're looking at something on the left front corner of his Chevrolet. Kyle Larson beats Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski off pit road in the first caution flag stop of the day.
All right, well, there you have it. First caution flag stop of the day is finished, and we will get back to racing here shortly. Listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's NASCAR Cup Series race at Darlington, the Goodyear 400. Keselowski winning the race off of pit road will remain as our current race leader. So no cautions for incident. The only yellow was the lap 90 stage break. We'll see how that will transpire throughout stages 2 and 3 in this race today. So far, quiet activity on racetrack by way of incidents go. Tyler Reddick obviously having the voltage issue, so they're trying to work on that with the battery and changing the battery during the caution period. Like the pit stop, they should be able to stay on the lead lap, but they're going to be at the tail end of it. Good news is Brad Keselowski lapped about half the field. There were several drivers who are going to try to take the wave around to begin this stage, but I believe at the end of it, there were only 21 cars on the lead lap. And Michael McDowell got the free pass to get back on the lead lap as the first car one lap down. Actually waiting for our leaderboard to update here. Mentioned that Keselowski had won the race off pit road, but I don't think that that is the case now, as we still circuit under caution. Long ways to go at Darlington, lap 97 of 293 as we just wrapped up stage 1. Good to hear Darrell Waltrip in the broadcast booth in the early going of the race today, kicking things off with his classic boogity, boogity, boogity. Walls 23 had pit road problems. Oh boy. Yeah, not good. He was fourth, sorry, at the end of stage 1. So between Reddick having the lengthy pit stop, Keselowski losing the lead, Blaney having the loose lug, stopping in a teammate's box to get that solved. He's now at the back. Reddick with the battery change. That means of the top 4 positions, none of them are going to be the leader on the restart. So the race has flipped just a bit. And it looks like it's going to be Kyle Larson out in front when we get back going. Tyler Reddick pitted before pit road opened, so he will not be the leader.
Find out that 64 race streak. This just won't be race this year. He's finished on the for every race this year. And we're in turn 4. It's a great view with these racetrack fans to see it around. By the way, we're dressed like a couple of lost accountants, but it's 88 degrees and it feels like 105 or a lot more. And how about the guy who sat on the pole is sitting in a hot car right now?
Yeah, super sympathetic to Tyler Reddick, who hasn't run the air conditioning or any cooling the entire race. They did put a bigger battery in. Hopefully he recovered, but most likely not going to be able to cool down his car. It's going to be a tough day for him. Has the fastest car, and Ryan Blaney is the other one. Listen, you think about the issues the 12 car had on pit road at Phoenix twice. They had to come back in. We mentioned in the pre-race show, Chris, how good he was at passing cars. We're going to see if he can do that again right now.
As good as he's been, 0 for 18 in his career. And I have this sign here about fans. It's just amazing to me, like this little town in South Carolina, which has a population, Darlington, of 6,000. But on race day, they get as many as 60,000, and fans from all over, all 50 states. We had North Dakota, New York, Maryland, and from 15 different countries that come to cheer on their favorite drivers. It's awesome here, Chris. They really, the town really embraces the racetrack and has here since 1950. Well, a couple issues on pit road. And Blaney, whose pit crew is ranked 33rd of 36 full-time teams, is fine on the right side, but on the left, he got a loose lug nut. So Blaney will leave his pit, sense the issue, and pull into another pit down the road to get that tightened, which will give him a restart at the back of the line.
And that's the third loose wheel that he's had in the last 2 weeks.
He's got to get tired of that. And you see him pull into another stall right here. His teammate, Austin Cindric, as soon as he left, all right, I'm going to pull in, guys. Bail me out again.
Thank goodness for teammates.
What do you think of Radio's saying right now?
Well, I don't know any reason that he shouldn't be having a major meltdown. So let's see if we have something here.
Oh boy.
Start 20th. Now, Bubba Wallace also had trouble on his pit stop. And this is, watch the left front here. The stop's done. The jack, whoa, 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 we're not tight.
Yeah, you see that carrier right there, like hanging on for dear life, trying to tell him that, hey, you gotta stop. Do not take off. They did not want that wheel to come off on the racetrack, but
He did a good job of being very affirmative, very direct. Stop, 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 and got in the way, got in that windshield, and got the driver stopped.
So 3 of the top 4 at the end of stage 1 will restart in back. 21 lead lap cars. Michael McDowell got the free pass. He also got nabbed for speeding on pit road. Oh, he's in the back.
All right, well, there you have it. So now that leads Michael McDowell, or sorry, not Michael McDowell, Kyle Larson and Chris Buescher on the front row for the restart as the green flag is back in the air, and Kyle Larson will take the outside of row 1, get a good launch, and head off into the first turn with the lead. Side-by-side battle for second between Buescher and his teammate Brad Keselowski. Keselowski on the outside and Buescher down low on the bottom. 3 wide towards the back of the pack entering turn 3. We'll see how that works. And also in the mid-pack, they're 3 wide. Just inside the top 10. First lap led under green of stage 2 will be led by Larson. First laps led for the 5 car here today. Ran top 5 all of stage 1 between the 4th and 5th place positions, but after qualifying in that 4th spot as well, now leads after blunders on pit road for each of the drivers that were ahead of him in the running order. Reddick, Blaney, and Keselowski. Fortunately for him is that Brad Keselowski, who won the stage, only lost 2 positions in the pits and got 1 back in the restart, so he's now in second trying to run that 5 car down. We'll see how many laps it's going to take to get that done as this stage begins. Eric Jones on the 43 car trying to move up through the field. He had 7 positions gained back in stage 1 from 22nd. Starting spot to 15th. He tried to slide up in front of Ross Chastain. He was not clear and almost turned himself. It's very fortunate that it didn't just hook him straight into the right side wall. Turned away from it in time, and in doing so, corrected the wheel back straight before turning down the track into the inside retaining wall. That was quite the big wiggle. Bubba Wallace just behind them after a slow pit stop. Had to back up in the box, get that left front lug nut retightened. He battles Chastain currently for 13th. And he will make the pass cleanly in turns 3 and 4 for that 13th spot. Haven't seen Chastain run as well today as we usually see him at Darlington. Been outside the top 10 the whole race. Wallace, another one of those drivers in the top 5 that just had to have a bad pit stop, leaving it for Larson and Buescher to have slightly better running position. And obviously everybody else further back in the top 10, like a Cindric, who was 8th, now in 6th. Chase Elliott right around that as well, 7th, 8th place up to 5th. Byron with a fast pit stop on top of the problems with drivers ahead of him is now in 4th after running 10th at the end of stage 1. Definitely caused a little bit of topsy-turviness, and it's going to be an interesting watch to see how the 12, the 23, and the 45 try to get through the field after running 2nd through 4th at the end of stage 1. And for Reddick's sake, starting on the pole and leading the first 45 laps of the day. On the drive back through the field right now, Tyler Reddick is in 19th place, going for 18th on Riley Herbst, and he's got that spot. Bubba Wallace already up to 13th place, and Ryan Blaney in 20th between those 3. Top 5 in the running order: Kyle Larson leads, Brad Keselowski in 2nd, Chris Buescher 3rd, William Byron 4th, and Chase Elliott going to round out the top 5 in 5th. Lap 17 of 95 in stage 2. Now with the stage caution laps ran, we had 9 of them. That's going to equate that if we go green through stage 2 instead of 90 laps like it was on the initial start, it will now be right around 86 laps consecutively for this stage. So we might see some pit stops a couple laps sooner into the run than what we did back in stage 2. Or stage 1, sorry. And just those 2 lead changes so far, Keselowski taking it away from Reddick, and then Larson winning the race off pit road. But Keselowski trying to make a 3rd lead change of the race and get that right back again. Lap 19 this time by. And overall in the race, lap 108 of 293. Just over an hour with those 2 lead changes. Caution-free stage 1. Early in stage 2, but caution-free here as well. Joe Rochester, thanks for tuning in. 3 wheels loose in 3 weeks. Come on, somebody go 12. Yeah, and as a Blaney fan, it hurts that his pit crew fails him over and over again. They were on the slightly slower side last season. I noticed that in person more when I was going to races, that he would lose a couple spots on pit road in a lot of the races I was in. Some of that could have been coincidental, but I'm like, come on, guys. And now this year, they're just not even getting the tires tight. Have that 3 times in the span of what is now the 3rd race, 2 weeks. Dating back to Phoenix, where he had 2 issues of that, still came back and won. It sets you behind, and it takes away stage points too, because, for instance, Ryan Blaney, although he won stage 1 at Phoenix and won the race, he didn't have any stage points in stage 2 because of those 2 unfortunate issues. Oh, we got trouble on the racetrack. Is that the 43 Eric Jones around? Looks like a blue race car of some sort. Caution is out. It is Eric Jones in the 43. Bubba Wallace on pit road, I believe, went down there to miss the incident. with the spinning 43 car. Or he tried to go to pit road before the caution came out and might have won the race down there in doing so, which if that is the case, that 23 car is going to be in the lead. What a bold strategy that would be if they were able to make that work. First caution for incident of the day at lap 112 out of 293. Almost as long as what we went in the O'Reilly race yesterday without an incident. That was lap 122. Eric Jones spin in turns 3 and 4. Doesn't look like he really had much contact with the wall. So that's good. He will be able to continue on, but he's going to be at the tail end of the lead lap now, unfortunately for him.
Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace was right there. It happened entering turn 3. We just watch the screen.
Eric Jones on the right is already sideways, and watch Denny moves. His driver, Bubba hits the wall. That's why you can't make mistakes, Kevin. Happens so many times in this sport. You get behind, you get caught up in a wreck. Bubba Wallace on pit road, Eric Jones around, Denny in the wall pretty hard as well.
Yeah, and for Denny, he got the right rear first and it slapped that right front. We've heard Bubba talk about his steering wheel being off, so his toe is knocked out. It looked like Denny Hamlin got in there a little hot, got into the back of the 43 and turned him around.
Pit road is open, Jamie.
The 5, Kyle Larson comes in from the lead. He has a small vibration. He had it before the last stop as well. They think it might be brake related, but they said there's nothing they can do at this point. A more tire stop. Meanwhile, his teammate, William Byron, the car's not responding a lot, but they're okay with it. Not a lot they can do. Good speed in the 24, Josh.
For the 17 of Chris Buescher, you saw how great and quick that stop was last time. He's been getting that car better and better over the course of this run. 4 tires and fuel 17 right here.
Frank Keselowski did a much nicer job on that previous long run of managing the right side tires. A little bit less course showed this time. Obviously, a short run, they weren't as worried about it.
There's your race off pit road. Larson. Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski. And Chase Elliott.
All right, so Brad Keselowski, I believe, winning the race off of pit road this time. Chris Buescher second, Chase Elliott in third. Kyle Larson, who was the leader at the time of the caution just ahead of Keselowski, did not have a good pit stop, and now he's going to be outside of the top 5 positions. So Wallace was on pit road because he got against the fence pretty hard, knocked the toe out, it seems, after contact with the wall, trying to miss the spinning 43 of Eric Jones. Jones, who had the spin itself, actually got away with probably the least damage between himself, Hamlin, and Bubba Wallace. Now, Wallace and Hamlin both got up against the fence with the right side of the race car, so we'll monitor and see how they will be able to continue on. Not good for my fantasy team because I had both Hamlin and Wallace on there, so it was looking good in stage 1. Not looking so good anymore. Back on pit road for repairs are going to be those couple of cars. Ryan Preece jumping up the leaderboard a few more spots on pit road also. And RFK having a solid day today with those Greg Biffle throwback paint schemes. Of all weeks to not have the diecast showing, I'd say the throwback weekend is probably the worst, although it's not technically throwback weekend anymore, but still doing some work, it looks like, on Tyler Reddick's race car. Maybe still having voltage issues after a battery change at the stage 1 pit stops. Promising start for Reddick today, being on the pole, and now Bubba Wallace getting caught up in this incident. It was looking like a solid start to yet another race for 2311 Racing. It's turned sour quickly. Top half dozen on the restart's going to have Kyle Larson in the lead, Chris Buescher in second, Brad Keselowski third, Chase Elliott fourth, Ryan Preece fifth, And then 6, William Byron.
Short. Did you hear? The car almost, it sounded like it might have gone into neutral right there. Or shut off. Yeah, or shut off or something right there. And then you see the contact behind that with the 11 and 23. So, hear what Denny Hamlin had to say about it. He's just a brake lock. Way on the brakes trying to keep him over, and unfortunately got in the back of him. Tore up race car.
All right, Shane Van Gisbergen gets the free pass. He will restart 20th. Then, looks like 13 cars took the wave around, including Michael McDowell, who again will restart the back, too fast down the road. So,
Saved a lot of cars having trouble, struggling throughout the day.
that's getting everybody on the lead lap now, except Joey Logano -1 and Cody Ware -3.
Right, interesting there. Green flag going to be back in the air, and it is Kyle Larson firing off as the leader on the restart. So our leaderboard was not completely accurate. He did win the race out of the pits. Larson, Keselowski side by side for that lead up out of turn 2. Brad K with a run. And he's got help from Chris Buescher on the inside. Couldn't really get to his back bumper for a push, but he'll challenge Larson into 3 and 4 and occupy that space as Brad Keselowski will slide clear in the middle of the corner. Buescher trying to get up in front of Larson, but not quite clear, and he'll side draft him down the front stretch to hang door to door with him. And rush their way off into turns 1 and 2. So Keselowski leads, Kyle Larson in second as he fends off Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott bearing down in 4th, and Ryan Preece 5th, and all Hendrick Motorsports and RFK Racing top 5. What is this, 2005, where Roush and Hendrick dominate the top 5 spots? Nope, more like 2026. It's a throwback race after all. Throwing it back about 20 years or so. So we'll see if Brad Keselowski can hold on as he takes the lead now. 5 lead changes in the race, couple of which on pit road. Larson was able to lead for several green flag laps during that last run. A short green flag run at that, which lasted less than 10 laps between cautions. Ryan Blaney trying to play catch up. He's right behind Shane Van Gisbergen. SVG got the free pass at the end of the last stage to get back on the lead lap. After a little bit of damage repair for Denny Hamlin in the 11. He's battling with Josh Berry. Austin Cindric, rather, inside the top 10. And makes the pass for 7. So Denny Hamlin did not pit to repair any kind of damage on the right side of the car despite making contact with the wall. So we'll see how his car is going to be driving. Right now in the short run seems to be okay after that wall contact. So maybe visually it looked worse watching the replay of the incident in that Eric Jones spin than what it ultimately ends up being for Hamlin damage-wise on the right side of his car. Cindric losing another spot as Chastain slides up clear out of turn 2, and it looked like Cindric had to lift off the exit of the corner. Chase Briscoe up inside the top 10 of the 19 car also. And Hamlin might have a shot at William Byron, who was not able to make a pass on his teammate Chase Elliott through turns 3 and 4. That failed pass attempt opens the door down to the bottom lane for Hamlin through 1 and 2. Gasses it up middle of the corner, going for the slide job. Clear on corner exit, barely. Great move by Hamlin as he won the race back to the gas and just had the grip to be able to keep his car pinned to the bottom. Oversteering it by the time he came across the bump on the inside of the track and out ahead of the 24 car. Hamlin moving forward on the restart. Just picked up his 61st career victory last weekend. First of the season at Las Vegas. Trying to go back-to-back at a track where he has won 5 times in his Cup career of those 61 wins prior. Lap 123 of 293. Brad Keselowski leads. Kyle Larson sitting in second, Chris Buescher third, Ryan Preece fourth, and Chase Elliott rounding out the top five in fifth. Now scoring Denny Hamlin in sixth with William Byron seventh, Ross Chastain eighth, Chase Briscoe ninth, and Austin Cindric rounding out the top 10. Very much early in this race still. Tyler Reddick trying to bounce back after changing a battery on pit road. He is in 15th. We'll keep an eye on that 45 car who looked ultra fast in stage 1. Came out of the pits in 8th, still came back to finish second in the stage and led the first 45 laps from the pole. He's good in clean air and he seems to be good in traffic. And Ryan Blaney right there with him, just a spot behind Reddick. Getting through traffic just as quick. After Blaney was third at the end of stage 1. Larson not able to keep pace with the RFK Ford of Brad Keselowski, and he's got the other two RFK Fords, Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece, closing in fast for second. Great showing for the 6, the 60, the 17, and that whole organization here this afternoon, running inside the top 4 between the 3 cars. Joe Gibbs Racing being silent in stage 1 with no cars in the top 10, and Denny Hamlin, despite scuffing the wall, trying to miss the spinning Eric Jones, is now up inside the top 5 as he just passed Chase Elliott for 5th. Hamlin's not the only JGR car in the top 10, as Chase Briscoe now has, after starting 23rd, made his way up to 9th. Ty Gibbs, who started 28th, is just outside the top 10 at 11th, so JGR, maybe not in the first stage, but the middle going, stage 2, are working themselves towards the front of the pack. And we'll see if they've got any sort of contention with those 3 RFK boys who lead the field. Knowing that RFK has the Greg Biffle throwback schemes across all 3 of the cars, it's almost like Greg Biffle is driving with that team here today with the dominance that they've had. Biffle, a 2-time Southern 500 winner himself as well throughout his NASCAR Cup Series career, definitely knew his way around this place. It's almost kind of surreal to see how well collectively the 3 cars have ran, especially when you look at like Ryan Preece. He's never had a top 10 at this racetrack, and that goes for even last year when he ran with RFK Racing, and just significantly better today. Keselowski won this very race 2 years ago. Chris Buescher came close in a battle with Reddick in that same race for the win, and Buescher ended up 3rd. Contact with Reddick and with the outside wall in those closing laps, which led for Keselowski to steal the win from both the 45 and 17 that day. Lioness, thanks for tuning in. Never acknowledged you. Well, I just acknowledged you. I try. During the commercial breaks, like right now, on the side-by-side commercial break, as well as caution period, it's a little bit easier for me to look at the chat. A little hard when the green flag action's going on. I'm trying to call the action so we don't miss anything. That early caution in this stage, we will still see green flag pit stops before the end of stage 1, but they're not going to be around the halfway mark of the stage within these next few laps like it was originally going to be had we gone green from start to finish of stage 2 like we did in stage 1.
World Series kicks things off in Martinsville on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. on the CW. It's on Sunday at 3 p.m. Turn on it. It's 1.
Friday night, Martinsville will be a great show as well. Here are your Brands 40 Kyle Larson for 16. That's a total of 3 times for 70 laps. And now RFK is 1, 2, 3.
RFK is having a great day here in South Kakalaki.
Tell you who is not, and that is Bubba Wallace. He got into the wall in turn 2 a couple of laps ago and is kind of nursing that car around now. He's now dropped a lap down. Now, how about his owner, Denny Hamlin, Josh?
So Denny Hamlin was struggling with that car there. Get the balance exactly right to have him make up some spots in the field. Makes contact with the 43. Caution comes out. They come in. They work on the car. The radio said the car is hooked. It's balance. It varies on entry. Still need to work on the middle a little bit tight, but he said it's hard. It's once improved. If they make contact, the car gets better.
It's a this car is fickle, and it's. I'm gonna go back to Tyler Reddick again. We've seen him win with no fender on the car at Atlanta, and sometimes you get in these scenarios where the balance is way different than what it has been, and I think that's exactly why the Fords are leading the race. They tend to have a tighter balance, and it's fallen into their wheelhouse this week with the cars being so loose in the back, and aero wise, they're out of balance with this package. It's not what you would probably want it to be as far as front to rear balance.
The front row starters, Reddick with electric issues and a long stop in 13th. The Bubba Wallace now 1 lap down. Game for Team 2311.
Well, you know, the Bubba Wallace situation and put yourself in the middle of the pack. You heard him mention it on the radio that you just don't want this track position. Next thing you know, you're in a wreck, and you have those days where the car is running really good. You're just up there cruising, have a bad pit stop, crash, and that's what happened to Bubba.
Here's 7th place changing hands as Chase Briscoe moves up past Chase Elliott.
And you see his teammate right there on the bottom on the inside of Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's car has just not got to the point where he wanted it to be today. After talking about how good it was in practice and thought he was in position to have a good day, they've just been kind of lingering around the end of that top 10.
Yeah, he's -4 since the restart. Regan?
Mike, just to update the number 19 and Chase Briscoe. We see that he just made that move for the 7th position. Progressively moving forward as the day has gone on. Car started off looser earlier. Just updated the team a moment ago and said that this is the tightest we've been.
AJ Allmendinger on pit road under green. So is Cody Ware. Larry, I'm wondering, all of these cars that took the wave around on that last collision, they're going to be in pit road pretty soon, don't they?
Well, they do, Mike, because we've now run since the restart from 21 laps. Remember, they had 11 laps on their tires. We see more of those wave arounds. So I think they got the point. We need to just hit pit road and get full fresh tires. But what's going to be interesting is with our leaders, because we went back racing with 69 laps to go. If you split that, you're going to run somewhere around 34 to 35 laps, meaning lap 150, which is about 12 laps from now. May see some come a little early, may see some run a little long.
They do it on pit road. Again, scheduled stops for those drivers from 22nd on back that took the wave around. RFK 1 and 2, Keselowski and Buscher.
We'll go through the full field running order now as we're midway through stage 2. Brad Keselowski leads, Chris Buescher in 2nd. Kyle Larson 3rd, Ryan Preece 4th, and Denny Hamlin rounding out the top 5 and 5th. And you got William Byron 6th, Chase Briscoe 7th, Chase Elliott 8th, Ty Gibbs 9th, and Ross Chastain rounding out the top 10. Daniel Suarez in 11th, Tyler Reddick 12th, Austin Cindric in 13th, 14th for Ryan Blaney, and Christopher Bell 15th. 16th is Shane Van Gisbergen, Austin Dillon 17th, Eric Jones 18th, 19th is Riley Herbst, and 20th is Kyle Busch. 21st, Michael McDowell, Carson Hocevar 22nd, Connor Zilic 23rd, Zane Smith 24th, John Hunter Nemechek in 25th. 26th is Josh Berry, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 27th, 28th, Justin Allgaier, Noah Gragson in 29th. 30th is Joey Logano. Got to slow down a bit. 31st, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Bubba Wallace 32nd, Cole Custer 33rd, AJ Allmendinger 34th, Ty Dillon 35th, Cody Ware 36th, Timmy Hill 37th off the racetrack. 89 laps ago, Timmy Hill pulled off, so One car out of the race so far. 36 of the 37 that started are in it, 27 on the lead lap. We had several drivers take the wave around with the last caution and having pit stops on the short side of the run. They will have to pit much before the lead lap cars, as lap traffic already has been had for the race leader, Brad Keselowski. Zane Smith and John Hunter-Nemechek have gone a lap down recently. And we'll see if anybody else is going to lose their laps before they decide to maybe come in and surrender the lead lap, pit early to try to gain an advantage and get back on the lead lap and hold on to the end of the stage from there once the rest of the leaders would cycle in. The lead is 2.1 seconds to Chris Buescher. Kyle Larson 4.3 back in third, and Denny Hamlin in fourth is 5.7 seconds out of the race lead. That's the top of the running order as we get late in this second stage. 5 lead changes about an hour and a half into the race. Lap 143 of 293. 2 cautions, the 1-4 caution. Derek Jones spin. Bubba Wallace getting a good chunk of the wall on the outside, trying to miss that. Hamlin scraped it, but nothing majorly from a damage aspect for Denny Hamlin. Statistical leaders in the NASCAR rankings so far in 2026. Didn't go over this right before the start of the race today, so we'll go over it now. Tyler Reddick comes in with 112 laps led on the season as he leads the points. He is tied for the most top 10s this year between himself and Bubba Wallace, and he's tied for the most top 5s this year with himself, Christopher Bell, and Ty Gibbs, the only 3 drivers at 3 top 5s on the year. The wins, 3 for Reddick, first 3 races, Coda, the third race, second race at Atlanta, and of course the season opening Daytona 500. Ryan Blaney with the win 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, and Denny Hamlin last week at Las Vegas. Other laps led leaders, Christopher Bell actually has the most on the season with 225. 152 for Denny Hamlin is the second most laps led. Tyler Reddick currently having the 4th most laps led. Kyle Larson is third at 117, then Reddick 112, and 111 for Joey Logano. So they're the top 5 on that statistical category. DNFs on the season. We haven't seen many drivers with multiple DNFs on the year. No more than 2. Some that have had 0 DNFs in the first 4 would include your top 2 in points, Wallace Reddick, as well as Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Chris Buescher of the top 10 in points. Most stage points on the season, Bubba Wallace so far. Second most, Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell. 37 stage points total for Tyler Reddick coming into the day today. He had 9 of them in stage 1. Our race leader, Brad Keselowski, on pit road, as well as several others.
To chase.
Good side from BK.
Ben Gisbergen completes his stop. Kyle Busch is in. Joey Logano down. He's in. It's going to be Riley first. Derek Jones coming off at lane.
Coming off at 2, you got your leader Keselowski, and there's second place Hamlin. Here he goes.
Hamlin, Keselowski battling after making their green flag pit stops already. Current leader is Chase Elliott on the track as more green flag pit stops continue on as Connor Zilich and Noah Gragson come to pit road. Keselowski currently in the 4th place position. The top 3 that have not yet made a stop under the green flag conditions would include Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, and Ryan Blaney. They're 1 through 3. Then again, Keselowski, Hamlin battling for 4th place, which would be the eventual lead once those top 3 do come onto pit road for the green flag stop. 36 laps to go in stage 2 this time by. Chase Elliott leading for the first time this afternoon after running inside the top 10 all day. Top 5 for most of which after qualifying 3rd. Making the 6th lead change of the day. Elliott stays on the track, but this time by Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney will be on pit road.
That's Reddick and Blaney.
Just chasing. Still on these 2. House's main story. Still. What's the thinking on the 9, and how long can they stay out there before they lose whatever opponents have? Yeah, I mean, right now, he's basically 2 seconds a lap off. I gotta believe, yeah, he's coming to pit road right now. To me, they ran 1 lap too far. But I don't think he could get to pit road because of traffic. So that extra lap that Chase Elliott ran before making his stop is going to cost him several seconds to the other leaders once we cycle through. Josh?
Chase Elliott should be able to get that car to turn better. Maybe one of his how it's a bit over. Let's say look at that. It's 4 tires and fuel.
So now Chase Elliott, after leading for a few laps amidst the green flag pit stops, Brad Keselowski is now back in the lead for the 3rd different time here today. 7 lead changes total in the race at this point, just past halfway, lap 152 of 293. Chase Elliott is not going to be the leader anymore. He should cycle out of the top 5, and it looks like on our screen going to be out of the top 10 by the time he leaves pit road, staying on the track longer than everybody else. Elliott 18th, Blaney 19th, for instance, right now as Elliott tries to get to speed down the backstretch into turn 3. Nowhere near the top 5. We'll see if he can make up some time to the end of the stage. With only 35 laps to go, actually from when he just pitted now, more like 32 to 33 laps to go, he's not going to have a whole lot of time to try to get back up there on those roughly 10-lap fresher tires than those who pitted at the front side of the green flag pit stops. So after the cycling of green flag pit stops, Brad Keselowski back in the lead again. The Chris Buescher is second. Denny Hamlin challenged with Keselowski for the lead initially, though Brad with a few lap fresher tires. Hamlin now falling to 3rd. Kyle Larson in 4th. Chase Briscoe in 5th. 6th place is Ryan Preece. 7th is William Byron. Ty Gibbs 8th. Daniel Suarez 9th. Michael McDowell rounds out the top 10, though I don't believe McDowell yet has been to pit road either. 31 laps to go, stage 2 this time by at the line as BK leads. .1 second lead over Buescher. That last lap, they actually ran the same identical lap time to the 1,000th of a second. This time by at the start-finish line, about 2/10 faster for Brad Keselowski. Hamlin's 2.8 seconds out of the lead, and he was also about 2/10 slower than Brad that last time by. 3.1 seconds of the advantage to Kyle Larson in 4th. 6 positions gained since the restart for Hamlin, so part of that short pitting looking pretty good for him. Going a little bit longer on the pit stop, and a much better pit stop at that for Tyler Reddick and the 45 team. They're in 12th. Slow stop for Ryan Blaney. He's 6 positions behind him, despite actually running just 1 spot behind Reddick on track at the start of the green flag pit stops. Roughly 3 seconds behind him. Pitted the same lap, too. And Chase Elliott, who pitted 1 lap after the 12 and the 45, is just 1 spot behind Ryan Blaney. And now it's actually looked like he just made the pass on Blaney for 18th as I was talking about it. Go figure. We'll take a quick break here. You're listening live on KRC to full flag-to-flag coverage of today's race, the Goodyear 400 at Darlington for the NASCAR Cup Series. Been a fun one so far, as Darlington usually tends to be. And much more of that fun will continue. Lots and lots of racing to go yet. Just can't wait to see how this is going to all play out. .31 cars still on the lead lap. But Brad's got a lot of cars in front of him. He will be looking to lap, and we'll see if the lead's going to fluctuate any. Right now, Chris Buescher running him down a bit in that heavier lap traffic. So the 6 car not that far in front of the 17 anymore. Could create a passing opportunity for Buescher. Keselowski on the inside through 3 and 4. trying to make a pass on 2-lap cars who were to the top. Buescher was able to run the top and use that momentum off turn 4 on the high side as he makes a run. But now he's going to have to pass 2-lap cars that he gets boxed in behind who were side by side in front of Buescher. At least Keselowski didn't have to deal with that, and Brad opens the gap back up by a couple tenths of a second this time by. One more lap car in front of the 6, kind of pinching him off on corner entry a bit, but Brad rolls the bottom much better than the lapper up on the outside of him. And he's back out to about a 1-second lead again as he works alongside Ty Dillon in the 10 car, who will now go a lap down into turns 1 and 2. And they'll be battling behind him for the free pass position, which could hold Buescher up even more. Kyle Larson making a pass for third place on Denny Hamlin just out of the commercial break. Was a change for position there. Tyler Reddick, by the way, up now to 11th place, one spot out of the top 10. 23 laps to go this time by, it appears, in stage 2. Keselowski has led the most laps so far in the race today, and by quite a wide margin, 91 laps led out of 162 already for the 16. And again, they have led 3 different times.
So this place brings out the best in those drivers behind the wheel. In there, frustrated. The car never drives good, even when it is driving good. And the fall off and things that you have to deal with today, they're at a high level, Clint.
Well, even the cars that are driving good, you talk about 2311 on the front row, both of them, as soon as the rack fell, are having trouble. Reddick's had several problems. The 23 car got caught up in a wreck, but don't count out 45. I haven't given up on him yet.
Yeah, that 45 car is still really fast, Clint. I think they've had to deal with a lot of issues. We've heard him talking about having to battle his way through traffic, but I would not sleep on this 45 car still. He's going to work his way back up into the front.
I hear you, but if it's a problem, he's at it today. Well, he is plus 7 now. Since the last restart, he is up to 10th.
Yeah, right now he's the only one in the 31-second bracket. So that thing still has a ton of speed.
And his teammate, Chase Briscoe, is now up into the top 5. Here's his Toyota onboard camera. Turn 3. Chase Elliott, Michael McDowell for 13th there. McDowell's had to overcome 2 speeding cars.
Well, it's been a pretty interesting day so far. We've seen cars have trouble. We've seen, cars on pit road have some trouble with the pit crews, and seeing a little bit different mixture of guys up towards the front. But last week's winner, Denny Hamlin, sitting right there in 4th. You're looking at Chase Elliott and Michael McDowell right now. Ryan Blaney still trying to battle his way back towards the front of the pack. Hasn't quite got there as fast as we thought he would, but still migrating himself forward.
The 14th. Now, the car in the free pass position is the number 48, Justin Allgaier, is in that car again this week. He's the first car 1 lap down. Henry Motorsports' Jeff Andrews says that Alex Bowman continues to experience vertigo symptoms, so the team is following the guidance of the medical team and giving Alex the time he needs to recover. So he's going to be out for the next 2 races in addition to this one.
Guys, Chris Buescher has run his boss down, Brad Keselowski, the leader of this race.
Yeah, that last lap, he was 0.3 of a second faster than Brad. So that 17 car is making some speed right now. Passing him and catching him and passing him is 2 different things.
Kyle Buescher at Grinder had a little feature on him in front race. I'm in central Connecticut, but Grinder was long sandwich, what's called a hoagie or a sub or a torpedo in other parts of the country.
We called it a grinder, but I know what you meant. And it fits. He grinds it out.
See right there, exit of turn two, right there. Ricky Stenhouse tried to come down the hill right there, and Chase Briscoe just touched the apron and it shot him up the racetrack a little bit. But that could have been a lot worse. You can get yourself in trouble off of turn two really, really fast with the way that the bumps are and the way that that car shoots up out of the hole up to the wall off the exit of two.
Coming to 15 laps to go in stage 2. With Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher's Mustangs in front.
Side-by-side commercial break on Fox Sports 1 as we come to 15 laps to go in the stage this time by. Brad Keselowski leads over Chris Buescher right now in second. Third place is Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin in fourth, and then Chase Briscoe rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Ryan Preece sits sixth, William Byron seventh, Ty Gibbs in eighth, ninth is Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez 10th, Austin Cindric 11th, and Christopher Bell rounding out the top dozen in 12th. So 7 lead changes, 2 cautions, 14 caution laps. The first yellow was at lap 90 for the stage break, and then at lap 112 we had the Eric Jones spin, resulting Bubba Wallace getting some significant contact with the turns 3 and 4 outside wall, trying to miss the spinning Eric Jones. And Denny Hamlin, a little bit of nose damage, but I wouldn't say damage as much as it was just contact on the nose, which kind of spun the 43 around after he had checked up majorly on the inside lane entering turn 3. That's what started it. Hamlin not really any damage at all, unlike the 43 and 23. So 3-car incident, but none of them DNFing from the crash. Unfortunately for Bubba Wallace, he got the worst of it as he ended up going a couple laps down, making repairs. He's currently 3 laps down in 35th after finishing 4th in stage 1. Eric Jones on the lead lap in 18th still, and obviously Denny Hamlin, the best of which, in 4th, and actually the highest he's been in the running order today, minus when he ended up in 2nd place when the green flag pit stops first cycled out. He's fallen back a couple of spots, but still maintaining within 2.5 seconds of the race leader. 12 laps to go, stage 2 this time by.
For both of these cars, they're going to score stage points and put themselves in a great spot for the first 2 stages so far. So that's the exact opposite of what they've been doing to start the year by protecting themselves in the first 2 stages by running well.
All 3 of them are going to have stage points with Preece in 6th. It's Keselowski's radio.
Pretty normal to have that racetrack start to swing the other way as far as how the handling characteristics are looking. As you'll notice when they go down into turn 3 this time, that shade's starting to creep over the wall. When that shade starts to creep over the wall here, that's when the balance starts to change on these cars. And see the shade that's starting to come in right there is starting to get longer down the racetrack. And that's when the money is made from the crew chiefs up on the pit box. Sometimes you go to a racetrack and you just have to anticipate when things like that happen. So who came up with their car the best now that the track conditions are starting to change?
Daniel Suarez drawing a beat on Austin Cindric. That's for 10th place and a stage point.
And another good run.
Every
Daniel
point matters.
Suarez and that new opportunity in this 7 car with Spire Motorsports. They have been solid week in and week out this year in 2026.
Yeah, and you just never know how those changes are going to go. We've obviously seen the tension between Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain become pretty public after their little conversation and shoving match last week after the race. So both of them, Ross especially, very, very publicly forward-facing as far as how his feelings are towards Daniel Suarez. So no love lost there, Clint.
No, but I think Daniel's getting the last laugh of that.
Yeah, I mean, on the racetrack, Daniel's definitely outrunning the one car and his old car, from Trackhouse Racing. And heard Ross talk about the struggles of Trackhouse Racing on our pre-race show today, and he was very vocal in saying, hey, our cars just aren't very good on the long runs. And so when the driver's starting to speak out publicly like that, it definitely gets the attention of the team.
So Chastain just went past Kyle Busch. That was for 20th place. And here is Tyler Reddick, who just moved past Ryan Preece to take over 6th.
Reddick back into 6th.
It's been about 75 or 80 laps since they changed that battery, put the bigger battery. They just asked for an update on his voltage. He said 12.7, 12.8, which is good. Still got over 100 laps to go, and he's not complained about anything else about the brakes.
Closing in on, we got some 11 audio.
Yeah, if something's moving around, he might have a wheel that actually didn't seal all the way up. I saw that car move around down the back straightaway, and sometimes if that wheel comes loose, it'll actually cut it in half, and then it'll go flat. So if that wheel is actually loose, there's definitely something moving around in the back of the car, but it'll shift on and off of the hub and start to move around and make it feel like it has a flat tire, but it's not flat.
Larry, I know you want a couple stage points, but what do you do here? Yeah, I mean, we still, Mike, we've got, we've got 15 laps to go before this start. No, we got 5 laps to go before the stage is over. I just don't know about a loose wheel. They've run 41 laps.
You see, here comes the run. Buescher is on him. Brad's having trouble with Logano and some lap traffic. This is the opportunity.
Coming to 4 to go in the stage. And Buescher's there.
That's what we talked about with Brad's car earlier. When he would get into traffic, you just have to be precise, because the front tires aren't going to turn, and we know it affects the Fords more than the other brands. But it definitely has been a little bit more of a struggle for Brad than it seems like for the 17 car of Chris Buescher. But he's going to fend them off this time. But that 17 car is fast.
Buescher and Brad are 2 spots apart in the point standings. So doesn't matter much whichever one of them wins the stage. It's good for RFK either way. 3 to go. Denny Hamlin has fallen from 10th. Surrendered that to Daniel Suarez. Nope, just crossed him back over.
Yeah, and what a day for RFK, though, right? No matter what happens the rest of the day, these guys have shown up and had the speed to contend at the front of the racetrack, even when, I know Tyler Reddick has the fastest car on the racetrack, but they have been right there with him to be able to compete, make pit stops, and do all the things that it takes to keep themselves at the front of the pack. But Suarez down there, he took for granted. He just decided he was going to do a slide job on Denny Hamlin, and Hamlin gave him a little bump, but cut him a little bit of slack as well.
And Daniel got the 10th spot. That'll be the last point paying slot here at the end of the stage in 2 laps. All right, Chris Buescher, do you beat the boss for stage 2? What happens here?
Yeah, you see Brad struggling with grip right there. You can see the
pressure.
Yeah, you can see the back of the car moving around. But I agree with you, Clint. Just keep pressure on him. Try to make it move and make him push a little harder than he wants to.
Final lap, stage 2. He's on him. He's going to play nice. He better. It's his boss. Brad touched it.
Yeah, he touched the wall right there.
And here they come for the end of the stage. Green and white checker flag in the air. Keselowski holds on. He only had 2 stage wins of all of 2020. We got Iowa. Brad has won stage 1 and stage 2. What a day for RFK in Darlington.
So Brad Keselowski sweeps the stages here today at Darlington, just as we saw last year with William Byron and Chase Briscoe in the 2 Darlington races. But can he get the win like Briscoe, or will what happened to him happen to William Byron last year, where he wasn't able to get a top 10? And actually, last year, William Byron wasn't even able to get a top 10 finish in that race. Brad Keselowski has led for well over 100 laps today. He's led 3 different times between these first 2 stages. 114 of 185 laps led so far for him. Keselowski with the stage win, Chris Buescher second, Kyle Larson third, Chase Briscoe fourth, Tyler Reddick in fifth, and Ryan Preece sixth, seventh for William Byron, Austin Cindric eighth, Ty Gibbs ninth, and Daniel Suarez rounding out the top 10, again 1 point per position for those top 10 spots. Thank you to everybody who sent the super chats. Sorry I might have missed that during the green flag action there. First one that was sent, God Rides a Harley, sent $2, so thank you for that. Support the channel. He says, yeah, definitely hit the like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content. We have live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend just for this, or for Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series racing just like this is what I meant to say. Lioness, challenge taken. Hello, everyone. Go number 24. Yeah, Byron's been getting better through this race today. He was around 13th, 14th in stage 1, just snuck up in there to 10th at the end of the first stage. Stage 2, he was running between 6th and 8th, probably 4 or 5 spots on average better. He finishes 7th in stage 2. If he can get a little bit better than that, maybe he gets a top 5 finish. I don't think he competes for the win unless things happen to guys in front of him, but we have seen pit stop blunders for quite a few drivers who dominated stage 1 today. And they haven't really been back up there in stage 2 much, minus Tyler Reddick, who finally got his way back up to 5th place after finishing 2nd in stage 1, leading a bunch of laps. So although RFK has had a stranglehold of things through stage 2, Tyler Reddick is charging his way back through the field. And Chase Briscoe, who started all the way back at 23rd, has been on a slow grind. He's up to 4th. Can't count him out of it. He's won 2 of the last 3 Darlington races, though both the 500-mile Southern 500 races, not necessarily in this 400-mile race yet. So Tyler Reddick, points leader, 5th in points here. Also, another super chat that was out there. Robert Goodrich, thank you for the $5 super chat. See if I refigured this for the stream challenge. Yeah, a challenge to hit that like button. Our like goal is 150 likes for the stream today. We are at 115 right now, so we'll see if we can get to that goal at some point by the end of the stream. As we will move our way on into stage number 3, we will have pit stops during the stage break coming up shortly. Far from the last ones today. Can have anywhere between 1 to 2 more stops still the rest of the way under green flag conditions, let alone any cautions, which we've only had 1 for incident so far in 188 laps. Last week at Las Vegas, we only had 2 cautions for incident in the entirety of that 400-mile race. So kind of similar today with the clean racing, but a lot more slipping and sliding here at the even lower grip Darlington than what we had last weekend at Las Vegas. Pit road should be open this time by, and you'll get to listen into the pit reports of your favorite drivers and see what kind of changes are going to be made, if any at all. But I'm sure a lot of these teams are going to take the time to make adjustments. Very rarely you are not making adjustments on the race car, and knowing it's not the last pit stop of the race and some drivers maybe not liking their car versus others, they're going to continue to try to dial it in, and they'll need their crew chief's help for that. So something not right with the right side of Denny Hamlin's race car. Pit crew taking a look at that under the caution period. Pit road is closed, so we will have to restart at the tail end of the longest line on the restart. Free pass given to John Hunter Nemechek in 26th. He was the first car lap down at the time of the caution. All right, so pit road open this time. Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher in the field on their way in.
All day. Feels really free. Definitely get away with it right here.
And that stop was 9.2 seconds, their fastest stop of the season. All right, pit road is open, Jamie.
Crew Chief Cook Daniel standing on the wall, assisting the hits. They go over for him. He says he's just lacking grip. Still has that vibration that he's had all race long, especially early in the run. Said, don't free me up. Just let's have a good stop, trying to gain spots in the row. Josh.
Strong start to the day for Chris Buescher. Since that car's in a little bit frame, but doesn't want any adjustments. Finished second in stage number 2 there, Regan.
19 to Chase Briscoe migrated 2 free on that last run, and the 6 of Brad Keselowski after the green flag stop said he was holding on to lap 1. Doesn't like the green flag seconds on that 6.
Keselowski barely wins the race off of pit road. I believe Kyle Larson came out of the pits in second by a nose to him. Chris Buescher dropped the spot down to third. Net even for Chase Briscoe in fourth. Wait for our leaderboard to update when the leaders get back to the start-finish line this time by. And from that point, we will obviously end up glancing at who's going to be restarting in the top portion of the field. Fastest lap of the race today, I believe, is Bubba Wallace. On the second lap of the race, ran a 29.999. So despite being 4 laps down with damage after an earlier incident, he was able to get 8 stage points in stage 1, and also would have the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. So trying to salvage a little bit more, despite running in 35th. Briscoe ran his fastest lap at lap 147. That was after the green flag pit stops in stage 2. Only other drivers in the top 10 to do that, Carson Hocevar, Michael McDowell, as they slowly try to work themselves forward. Denny Hamlin before he ended up having whatever issue to the right side of his race car later in that last stage. He did nurse it to the end of the stage, so he does stay on the lead lap, but because he pitted before pit road open, he will be at the tail end of the field, and they're making lengthy repairs on that 11 anyway. All right. Robert Goodrich, thanks for the other $5 super chat. Hit the like, it costs nothing. Exactly. It is free. That's what I always say. It's free to hit the like button. It's free to hit the subscribe button, and it helps the channel out a ton. Thank you so much for your super chats, not only this week, but in recent weeks on the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Very generous of you. Kind of a lengthy commercial break, but I guess if it's going to happen, might as well happen during the caution periods. 7 lead changes on the race so far today, just over 2 hours race time. 1 caution for incident and 2 stage breaks. So this being our 3rd caution under the 2nd stage break.
Winner. 2012 champion. He's won here twice before. And Jamie, we talked on our pre-race show about how experienced and veteran drivers do the best here under these situations. You hope he's had a couple of pit stops already, actually 4 or 5 here. You hope that his pit crew can be up to what he has so far. Can he hang on?
Yeah, obviously Brad and Buescher have really good cars, but the one that I have my on is Tyler Reddick. You mentioned at the beginning they had to change the battery. Billy Scott gave Tyler the option at the end of that when they changed the battery. He's like, look, if you run any of your cooling equipment, you will have to put another battery in that car. Tyler has toughed it out. Not run any of that cooling equipment. He's put himself back in a position. I think he gets to the front and win this race today.
Because it's huge since he's led this thing out. No stage 2 winner this year has gone fast.
Wow.
Thank that, Mike.
That's less than 2/3 of the way in this race. We've still got 100 laps. That's a long way at Darlington to go. Who do you like, Clint? Same guy picked earlier, Kevin. That 45, Tyler Reddick, he's coming back to the front. So we saw it with Ryan Blaney earlier at Phoenix. You know, he had trouble, finally won the thing. I think he's still going to punch through.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Briscoe. I think that now that they're being able to adjust their car at the front of this pack, I think they'll have a good opportunity. But I agree with you. I think Reddick has the fastest car.
Fellas, so far, it's RFK Day. Let's see how it goes as we get ready to start.
Yep, and Brad Keselowski will be leading the field on the restart. Kyle Larson was second on his way out of the pits, so he'll restart second. Chris Buescher third, Chase Briscoe fourth, William Byron fifth, and Ty Gibbs sixth after leaving pit road. All right, here we go. Final stage underway, and we have exactly 100 laps to go. Green flag is in the air as stage 3 begins in the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Kyle Larson pretty good on these restarts. Took the outside of row 2 from second place. Chris Buescher, who was third out of the pits, took the inside. Chase Briscoe in the 19 car, finding himself in line, bump drafting the back of the 6, gets him a bit squirrely. And now Brad up the racetrack, and that could give the lead to Buescher up out of turn 4. Not quite going to happen, and Chase Briscoe's got to run on the back of both race cars. Will now just trail the 6 car down the back straightaway. No bump draft this time, as Brad Keselowski does get to the lead. And Briscoe's in a prime position to take second away from Buescher, and does do so. Great roll through the center of the corner by Chase Briscoe, and he's got a run after Brad Keselowski, looking fantastic on the short run side of things. Got to hone in the aggressiveness a little bit there, as he almost caused an incident within those top 3 positions. Briscoe going for the lead early in stage 3, and he's got it. First lead of the race for Chase Briscoe in the 19 car as he tries to pick up where he left off, winning the fall race last year in the Southern 500 right here at Darlington. Top 5 in the running order off the restart has Briscoe in the lead, Brad Keselowski second, Chris Buescher third, Kyle Larson fourth, and William Byron up to 5th place. Christopher Bell might have gotten a piece of the wall off turn 2. He gets passed by Kyle Busch. Chase Elliott on the attack as well. Bell now back to 15th. Thought about going up the middle 3 wide between Busch and Elliott. That didn't happen. We got a spinner off turn 4. And it's Riley Herbst in the 35 who will nose against the inside wall. And the caution flag is going to be out for just the second time for incident today. Wasn't hard contact with the inside wall, but definitely crunched the nose just a bit on that 35 car. Another incident for another 2311 Toyota. Or just a Toyota in general, it seems like at this point here today, as they have had a lot of gremlins on those Camrys. Like goal, we are at 124 on the goal to get to 150. So getting closer. Didn't end the chat poll at the end of stage 2. So I'm going to do that right now. Showing a replay of what might have happened. Well, first it was Briscoe and Keselowski making bumper-to-bumper contact. Briscoe getting into the back of the 6 car out of turn 2 and nearly turning Brad down into Buescher. Great job by the 6 car hanging on to it. And honestly, the 17 might have straightened him out a bit. And then contact off turn 4 to the back of the 35 car spun Herbst around. Couldn't tell who that was that made contact with him from that aerial shot. But definitely had some help. All right, they only ran a couple of laps, but we might still see green flag pit stops anyway. We have not seen a lot of teams take tires today. So they're going to use them if they've got them.
Times here and another air pressure.
Yeah, so 17 of Chris Buescher, they decided last second to stay out on that pit cycle, Regan.
19 to Chase Briscoe. It was a late decision to go ahead and pit when they saw the rest of the cars work. Got a good read on the car at Clean Air, said it was on the free side of neutral, but good. Brad Keselowski was always 4 tires no matter.
6 cars stayed out. Buescher, Gibbs, Suarez,
Van Gisbergen, Dillon, and McDowell did not fit. We'll see how that plays out here in Darlington.
Yep. Unfortunate situation there for the likes of Riley Herbst bringing out the caution. Chase Briscoe getting to the lead, and then the caution come out immediately behind him. Fantasy teams all locked up at the end of stage number 2 as well. So hopefully you guys were able to do that. I had Denny Hamlin out of the lineup. He was having some issues there late in the stage, so I kept him out of the starting roster, even though Bubba Wallace is a handful of laps down. That's probably not going to work out well for me. But I know I'm going to use Hamlin much more than Wallace, more than likely throughout the season, so I'm not too upset with that. Unless Denny Hamlin comes back to somehow win the race and leave a lot of points on the table, but I don't think that's going to happen. Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, Bubba Wallace on the team, and on the head-to-head battle, Hamlin versus Byron. With Hamlin having the issues, that's not looking the greatest right now, but that could still change. Elliott over Bell, currently beating him. Keselowski has been beating Gibbs for most of the day. And Chastain versus Suarez. Daniel Suarez has actually been ahead of Chastain over the recent laps. Might have had some drivers stay out of the pits, only running a handful of laps in between those green flag runs. We'll have to wait to see if that's a bluff or some kind of an error on our leaderboard. When they come back from commercial, we'll have more of a idea if anybody did end up staying out. These teams only ran about 3 to 4 laps under green before the caution, but 3 to 4 laps at Darlington is quite a bit on these tires. I think they'll even out after about that many laps or within 10 laps into the run, but when they fire off those first couple laps in the restart, it's going to be ultra hard to hang on, and you just got to hope that you hang on for a better position running order than what you were in before. So if you're at the front of the field, probably not a great idea. If you're at the very back, maybe if you're running like 20th, you can end up 10th, 15th by the end of the run, and that would be a net gain in positions and well worth the strategy play. It saves a set of tires, but I don't think we're going to be at risk of running out of them because of the lack of cautions in Stage 1. None, in fact, in Stage 1, and then only one in Stage 2. Yes. Up to 126 likes. We're 24 away from our goal of 150. So again, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Road to 8,000 subs on the channel. Replay for Brad Keselowski and Chase Briscoe on pit road. Keselowski pulling into his box, making it kind of difficult for Briscoe to maybe get out as he's pointed in a weird spot. It's kind of fitting that they're pitted nose to tail with one another. Remember, there was contact between Keselowski and Briscoe on track, so I don't blame Brad for that. Tyler Reddick has been struggling inside the race car today by way of heat. Had to shut the cool suit and any kind of cooling system off to keep the voltages high in that race car, and he is been having a tough time. Stuffing ice packs in his driver's suit. Ultimately just doing what he can to feel comfortable inside that race car. And he's not going to be comfortable, but I guess more comfortable. Ambient temperature 88 degrees, track temp up over 100 degrees today in Darlington, South Carolina. It's a pretty hot one, especially in the month of March. Most stage points today, obviously Keselowski winning the first 2 stages, getting the most with 20 points. Tyler Reddick had 15 points despite his gremlins with the voltage and heating issues, obviously, in that race car. Chris Buescher, 14 points, same for Larson. Ryan Blaney still had the 5th most stage points as he ended up with 8 of them. All of those, though, were back in Stage 1 for Blaney. And in Stage 2, with the pit stop issues that he had, he has not been able to get back in the top 10 since then. All right, so drivers who stayed out of the pits were the top 6. Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, Shane Van Gisbergen, Austin Dillon, and Michael McDowell stayed out. Chase Briscoe won the race off pit road. He is in 7th. So top 6 on old tires. This is going to be a wacky restart here as we still have around 90 laps to go. This will be an interesting one to call, that's to say the least. Briscoe going to be on the inside of row 3, it looks like. A lot more drivers taking the outside lane of those on the older tires. I would not want to be the first car trapped in the outside lane behind him. Looks like Kyle Larson in the 5 car would be the first on the outside of row 5. All right, starters got the green flag, and we are back in the racing side of things here for stage 3. Everybody boxed in behind those on the slightly older tires. Who's going to get through first as Chris Buescher has the lead over Ty Gibbs as they exit turn 2. Briscoe looking for a pat through down on the bottom of the racetrack. I believe he still leads those on the 4 fresh tires. Tyler Reddick is to the outside of that 19 car, though, and he's going to make things interesting. Buescher going to lead his first green flag lap of the day as they cross the start-finish line with 90 laps to go. Ty Gibbs trying to put pressure on him. Briscoe getting through to 5th place and looking to the inside of, I believe, Shane Van Gisbergen for 4th. Briscoe got to the lead just before that caution. Keselowski losing a little bit of time on the restart. Lost a couple spots in the pits. He is now the 4th car of those that pitted for fresh tires. Going up the middle between Larson and Austin Dillon. This is going to be tight off turn 4. Side draft in the 5. He made a bold move, and it looks like it's going to work out as he gets by Larson now with the slide job into turns 1 and 2. If he gets through this traffic in front of him, that could be eventually 3rd place. For right now, it was for 7th. Chris Buescher still out in front. He's got a 0.3 of a second advantage over Gibbs on the restart. 0.7 to Daniel Suarez in 7th. In the 7 car in 3rd. Suarez actually putting quite a bit of pressure on Ty Gibbs a couple laps into the restart. Tyler Reddick looking to get by Shane Van Gisbergen now. And actually, no, that is Michael McDowell in the 71. Similarly colored car to that of Reddick, but it was not the 45. So Brad's actually the 2nd running of those on the fresh tires then. Michael McDowell, one of which that just stayed out. Seems like this is working out well for Chris Buescher altogether. Chase Briscoe in traffic was still faster than the car with the clean air that last lap, but it's pretty close amongst those 2 drivers. Now, in the clean air that last time by, Chris Buescher did have the fastest lap, so maybe 3 to 4 lap older tires is good. It did help for Buescher and Gibbs on the front row that the gap between themselves and Chase Briscoe was what it was. And Briscoe restarted in 7th because there were some buffer cars that had also stayed out. If only 1 or 2 cars stayed out, I don't think that was going to work out well for him. Having those extra buffer cars took a little bit of extra time for Chase Briscoe to get by some of this traffic. Same for Larson and Brad Keselowski. And although they're just now getting through some of those drivers, tires are going to equal out the longer they get into this run, only being a couple laps fresher. Briscoe still sitting in 4th. And the longer it's going to take that 19 car to try to get by the 54 and the 7, the more opportunity there is for Buescher to pull away. And now with that early caution and the restart with 90 laps to go, if we go green all the way through this final stage from this last restart, it will be tied for the longest green flag run, again, which was stage 1 and even 90 laps. Briscoe looking to the high side on entry into turns 1 and 2, but he is not able to make the pass on Suarez, who's being ultra aggressive in defense and trying to hold on to his track position. Stephen Molden, thanks for tuning in. Dale Campbell, I don't think I shouted you out in the stream at all today. Thank you for watching also. Christian Hicksonball, thanks for tuning in. Blaney should fire his crew. 3 races in a row, they put him back. Yeah, not good. Not good there. And if I missed anybody in the shout-out side of things throughout the course of the stream today, greatly appreciate you tuning in, telling it like it is. Thanks for tuning in. Last time RFK ran like this. Big fine. Let's see what NASCAR finds what they're doing this time. Well, I would agree with you at any track that has not been a drafting oval or Darlington. And Darlington is where we're at here today. I think they're just that bad fast today. $82 laps to go. Side-by-side commercial break ongoing. On Fox Sports 1, we'll take a quick break of our own. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage. Let you listen into a little bit of the broadcast when they do come back from commercial. Lead is 1.4 seconds for Buescher over Gibbs. And that 1.8 second advantage to Briscoe. Still very tight behind Suarez and Gibbs. And longer also it takes for Briscoe to make the pass on Suarez and Gibbs. Obviously, Brad Keselowski is going to be right there as well. Briscoe had such a great set of restarts in both of the Darlington races that he has won here before in late race restart situations. And he had a great one on the second to last restart. This one back in traffic just a bit. Better of those around him, but not good enough to get to the lead. And I don't know that there was going to be anything good enough to get to the lead with that many cars that did stay out, but needless to say, we're at where we're at right now, and Chris Buescher leads for the first time. Buescher winless a season ago as well. We'll see if he's going to be able to break through to victory lane for the first time since 2025.
Eastern on FS4. And the cup race at 3:30 Eastern. It's just the first one as we return to Martinsville, where Denny Hamlin got his 6th grandfather flock last spring. Chris Buescher with a 2-second lead on Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, Chase Briscoe, and Brad Keselowski. Time for a Darlington County Sunday. Crank it up.
Hey, there we go. Crank it up. Fox is throwing it back. Again.
streaks. 49 races for more.
Wow.
And Chris Buescher leading this race, who had only led 2 laps this season, entering today, has now been out in front twice for a total of 21 laps, and continues to hold a lead of 1.6 seconds.
Mind seeing a Chris Buescher win today, guys. I remember a couple of years ago, he got one stole from him here. I was a witness.
It's been 49 races since he's been to victory lane in the Cup Series.
And he's just done a great job all day of keeping himself in position, not making any mistakes. And now that he's got clean air, now he's got control of this race, which means you got control when you come to pit road. You got control of the restarts and all the things that go with this. I don't think that the story is completely told yet. I still think that Reddick has the fastest car. I think that when you go back and you see Reddick and Buescher battling at the end, who knows? We might wind up in the same position where Reddick's trying to get around Buescher or Brad to win this race. And so we got a lot of players up front that have been in position to win races here at Darlington.
I don't know anybody who doesn't have a history here, but yeah, that's
Well, and hey, let's face it, from DW to every driver to Kevin telling us today, you race this racetrack until it's time. And you get down to them closing laps, we've seen it with Kurt Busch, and Ricky Craven. We've seen it a lot of times. Push comes to shove, you can do some shoving at this racetrack and make a difference.
Well, especially if you have a restart at the end of this race. So, if we get a late race restart, how many times have we been here for that? Just seen a melee as you go through turns 1 and 2, but it can mix it up quick.
Now look at this battle for ninth that is closed right up on the race for 7th and 8th. Cigarette and Hosevar have really been going at it here for 9th place, Regan.
Well, Mike, just to give an update on both of those cars, we'll start off. Car just made the 9th place, of course, started in clear today. He's a pretty solid change. It's all day long. 2 stops ago, they made a massive swing at it and were able to make that car significantly better. He's just a little bit free right now. And Austin Cindric, he is a well-been all day. They finally got that car tight. He said this is the best that we've been in quite some time. I think what he told his crew chief earlier today, too. He said, I'm going to give you 1-word answers, so only give me 1-word questions. It's way too tough out here today. We're working way too hard.
All right, he is to 9th place, and if those covers look familiar, they should. It's no longer an official throwback weekend, but look at that blue and yellow Wrangler number 2. Yes, that's Pontiac Grand Prix. There's one like it out in the parking lot that Hosevar's been driving, but it sponsored Chili's. Chili's paint scheme to throw back to here at Darlington.
Yeah, it might not be an official throwback scheme and kind of putting on the event, but if you show up with a throwback scheme, we'll put your car on TV. Sure.
We got Brad looking at the inside of Briscoe, and the pressure's on because Reddick is flying behind them. This is an important pass for Brad Keselowski because of the pit road scenario.
Oh boy.
Briscoe doesn't get it there, and we're seeing Brad be really aggressive, leading in the.
Oh boy.
Chase Briscoe, they keep this track position to stay in control of this race.
Fighting for third here.
Brad has to get around him. I think he's got it. It's a big pass for Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, and that immediately puts Chase Briscoe in position and under fire from Tyler Reddick, so he's there. And I think that's the big worry that all these guys need to have is this 45 car right here. He doesn't have an air conditioner. His battery might be a little running low. Whatever it is, he's got the fastest car, and they want to do everything they can to keep him behind him.
No battery, no cool suit. Yeah, he's in a hurry to get this thing over with. First question, looks for 66 to go.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. I always kind of thought about that back in my racing days when I was a kid driving quarter midgets, and I would forget to go to the bathroom before I hopped in for like a heat race or main event. I'm like, I'm just going to race as fast as I possibly can so I get this race over with as fast as I can so I can go to the bathroom as soon as we're done. So that is the likelihood of what Tyler Reddick is trying to do right now, only his situation is it is ultra hot inside the race car. John Barber, thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that. It's greatly appreciated. I'm trying to heart it, and for some reason I'm not able to. And just know that I want to heart it. Very, very generous. Thank you so much. Adventures. Thanks for tuning in. Sometimes I can't tell if the video is frozen or the volume is off when you sit there and not say anything. Well, the audio for the race broadcast was on during that moment. I can't see the super chats like at all anymore. So I'm not able to heart that, but thank you so much anyway, John Barber. I do see the super chat overall. Our like goal to get to 150. We are at 138 right now on the stream. So thank you everybody who has hit the like thus far. Chris Buescher leading his teammate Brad Keselowski. Keselowski has been faster over recent laps since getting to second place. Does have a few lap fresher tires. We'll see if that pans out well for him as we get closer to green flag pit stops. Tyler Reddick sits in the third place position. And you got Ty Gibbs in fourth. Chase Briscoe in fifth. Daniel Suarez in the sixth spot. Seventh behind them as we go through the rest of the leaderboard is Carson Hocevar. Then you got Ryan Blaney 8th, William Byron 9th, and Austin Cindric rounding out the top 10. Kyle Larson in 11th, Shane Van Gisbergen in 12th, Eric Jones 13th, Ryan Preece 14th, and Michael McDowell 15th. 16th, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch in 17th, Denny Hamlin 18th, Christopher Bell 19th, and 20th is Chase Elliott. 21st, Connor Zilic. 22nd is Austin Dillon. Zane Smith 23rd, Josh Berry 24th, and Justin Allgaier 25th. Last car in the lead lap, Todd Gilliland in 26th. First car lap down, Noah Gragson 27th. 28th, John Hunter Nemechek, AJ Allmendinger 29th, and Cole Custer 30th. 31st is Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ty Dillon 32nd, Riley Herbst 33rd, Joey Logano 34th, Bubba Wallace 35th, Cody Ware 36th, and Timmy Hill rounds out our 37-car field. Only Timmy Hill off the racetrack with a mechanical issue earlier today. We have had just 2 cautions for incident, 1 early in Stage 2, 1 early in Stage 3, caution-free in Stage 1. So 4 yellows total with the 2 stage breaks included, 11 lead changes. And the lead for Chris Buescher is dwindling fast. It is down to 1.6 seconds and with still about 60 laps to go. He's going to have to hang on because green flag pit stops are not going to aid him out until we at least get to closer to 50 laps to go. But he is losing time fast as he kind of struggles to get through lap traffic on those slightly older tires. Ryan Blaney slingshotting his way around Carson Hocevar. Haven't really touched on Blaney at all since practically Stage 1. He was third at the end of the first stage. He hasn't been in the top 10 since. Fell behind with the loose wheel, but in this final stage, his car coming to life. And of the drivers who pitted, for instance, for fresh tires during that last caution, he would actually be the 4th highest of which in the running order, only behind the 6th, the 45, and the 19, while being 7th on the racetrack. Ty Gibbs lost another spot to not only Keselowski and Tyler Reddick in recent laps. So back to 4th for Gibbs as he looks for a 4th straight top 5 finish. His 3 straight so far already a career high. And he's tied for the most top 5s this year, with that being said in the early going of the season. Great start for Ty Gibbs. First 2 races didn't go well, but everything after that has. Adventures, thank you so much. A $20 super chat. I'm able to heart that one. I don't know why I can't heart John Barber's. It's not letting me. I'm sorry for that, John. I definitely see you, and thank you so much. Thank you, Adventures in the chat. Have to say, go Denny, go. All right, well, go Denny, go. Hopefully he can get back into a good finish. Had whatever was going on with the right side of his race car earlier. He's still in the lead lap, but he has been off the pace slow ever since they tried to fix whatever it was the problem. He's still in 18th, has not made his way through traffic, and nowhere near as fast as what he did in Stage 2 when he rocketed up as high as 2nd place in the running order. And speaking of 2nd place in the running order, here comes Brad Keselowski, charging after his teammate Chris Buescher. He is under a half a second off of the lead and pressing hard. Buescher also doing the same thing as he's trying to just hold on until we get to green flag pit stops. And maybe even if he loses the lead, if he could stay within a second or two, Brad Keselowski beat him onto pit road by a lap. That could be the difference, and maybe cycling back out in front again after the fact. Blaney and Hocevar got by Suarez in recent laps. They are now in 6th and 7th place in the 12 and 77 cars. A lot of Fords and a lot of Toyotas up in the leaderboard right now. 2 Fords followed by 3 Toyotas in the top 5. The rest of the top 10 is a Ford and then 2 Chevys, Ford, Chevy. The highest running Chevys, both for Spire Motorsports of Suarez and Hocevar. Byron, the other Chevy, in the top 10. And we haven't really seen Kyle Larson much in this final stages. He's currently in 11th. Biggest mover since the restart at lap 203. Ryan Blaney up 15 spots. Brad Keselowski up 10. 8 for Hocevar, 8 for Chastain, and 7 for Tyler Reddick. Keselowski 2 to 3 car lengths off the lead. Kyle Larson onto pit road. He will be the first car into the pits in stage 3 during green flag conditions. This will likely bring more over the coming laps as we have 54 to go.
So
Christopher Bell also in.
Now it's going to put a lot of pressure on these leaders. Blaney got pressure on him. As Brad looks to the inside, I look for the. It probably won't happen many more laps before you see those leaders pit, Larry.
Keselowski making a pass over to Chris Buescher for the lead as Blaney's in the pits. Oh, Buescher's around! Buescher got sideways. I think he tried to make a late decision to pit, but we're still green as he makes significant contact with the wall. He's not going to make it to pit road because of it, as he now has to limp his way around.
Green flags continue. Byron, Blaney, Elliott. Chris Buescher, who looked like he might have been on his way to victory here, now has got to recover.
And that's how fast it can change, Mike. Just a simple, I don't know if his hand was out the window or what happened, what the communication was between the spotters, but 45 had no idea that that 17 was coming to pit road and ran all over him.
Well, there you go. That's what happened. A late decision to pit. Tyler Reddick bearing down quickly on the 17 car. Got into the back of him. Buescher against the wall. And now it's Keselowski. Buescher 1-2. Brad K into the pits from the lead. Reddick is now out in front.
Zero remaining laps. 19.
All right, so the 19 car of Chase Briscoe has already been to pit road. Brad Keselowski, bottom of the racetrack through 1 and 2, trying to cycle up to speed. He had a few seconds of an advantage over Briscoe, who was actually even behind Reddick before the pit stop started. And I believe Brad K is still going to cycle out in front of the 19. Meanwhile, I believe the 12 of Ryan Blaney is also behind where Briscoe and Keselowski are at on the racetrack. I'm waiting to see where Brad Keselowski actually has cycled. It looks like he is in second, which means everybody has been to pit road minus the race leader, Tyler Reddick. Unless I'm mistaken, and Tyler Reddick in that 45 car pitted well before everybody else, but I don't think that's the case. Looks like lap 198 was the last time he had been to pit road, so yeah. Still waiting on the 45 car to pit. And we have 47 laps to go this time by. He's the only car in the lead lap, as Brad Keselowski in the 6 is going to get to the inside and bypass him down the back straightaway. Keselowski to the lead in turn 3, and as soon as Keselowski gets his lap back, that is the sign for Tyler Reddick to hit pit road.
I think it's worked out really good right here for Brad. And while these tires are new, he's got nice, clean racetrack. He had to get just a little bit, give up just a little bit of time off of turn 2 to not run over Reddick on those old tires. But he's got some really clean racetrack to be able to run some laps just as fast as he can go, because that's what you want to do. You want to take advantage of those new tires to get the laps to be as fast as possible early in the run.
And I want to brag on Brad. That car, he was hard back in traffic and absolutely drove straight through the field, charged to the front on that restart, and there he is. See him easily take the lead back. But that job he did on that last restart to start the third stage was impressive.
and put him in a situation where he can get back to winning this race. So Carson Hocevar pits. That leaves just McDowell and Gilliland on the racetrack, and McDowell is in the pit lane now. So to cycle back through and look at Chris Buescher, who got
All right, Carson Hocevar and Michael McDowell having to come back onto pit road for Spire Motorsports. Tough break there for especially the 77 car. So Brad Keselowski leads. Chase Briscoe is in second. Then you got Ty Gibbs third, Ryan Blaney fourth. Chris Buescher still on the track despite making significant contact with the wall. He is now in fifth. Our leaderboard still having an update on our end, so I figured I'd run through the top five on Fox's graphic shown right now in FS1 as we've got about 46 and counting down laps to go at the track. Too tough to tame, and we've seen our fair share of wall contacts slipping and sliding around as you usually see every year when you come to Darlington Raceway. On track, it looks like the 45 car of Tyler Reddick making a pass around Chris Buescher for fifth. Buescher still just trying to hold on for yet another Darlington top 10. Reddick on slightly fresher tires than those that pitted about 5 to 10 laps before him is working past those cars quickly. Ryan Blaney the following lap after getting by Buescher will get past. Reddick to fourth, and Ty Gibbs just a few more car lengths up ahead of where Blaney and now Reddick are. And Tyler Reddick from the pole will be making a pass likely in turns 3 and 4 for third place. Practically 3 consecutive corners he will make a pass for position. He's got a little over 5 seconds to the leader, Keselowski, and about a 3-second difference to get to the second place car of Chase Briscoe. And if we go green to the end of the race, this will match the longest green flag run of the day, 90 laps, which was the full length of stage 1. Just over the 2 hour and 40-minute mark so far in today's race. And on our like goal of 150, we are currently at 142. So just 8 likes shy. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. We've got over 200 concurrent viewers watching today's race at Darlington. So Brad Keselowski leading the way for RFK, trying to get his first win since 2 years ago in this very race. Chase Briscoe trying to get his first win of the season after sitting 26th in points after the first 5 races and a terrible start to the 2026 season. Tyler Reddick, the best start you could possibly have to any season ever, winning the first 3 races, leading in points, looking for his 4th win in just the 6th race of the year. Look out, Richard Petty. He's coming for number 27 by the end of the season. He wants your record. All joking aside, what a season Tyler Reddick has had right now. Had his first finish outside of the top 10 last week at Las Vegas, and that didn't hurt the momentum any because he qualified on the pole this week. And despite the issues with the electrical components of that race car, it's got enough voltage to stay running at full power, enough so that he is bearing down on the leaders. Fastest car on the racetrack right now, that last lap, by 0.7 of a second over Brad Keselowski. 2 consecutive laps in a row, really. That last lap, he ran a 31.101 to Brad's 31.899, and that was the holdout of waiting to pit, on top of the fact that he has probably had the fastest car in the field as well.
In qualifying, and I think right now he knows he's behind, so he's willing to take more risk and get up there against the wall where he can gain that speed that he needs. So,
well, he has a tire advantage. There's no question. Now that we're on the other side of the pit stop, you have a little bit of advantage here, but it's still 39 laps to go. Got to do some tire managing still.
And how much does that? Right now, it's that lap even hitting the wall. It was 0.4, but how much does that even out at the end of the run? But right now, he just gained another 0.6 of a second on Brad.
So Briscoe is 1.5 back, 1.5 seconds. Reddick 2.8 seconds back. Ty Gibbs 6.0. Ryan Blaney 6.5. Then Chris Buescher right on his bumper along with Austin Cindric. William Byron 9 seconds back. Larson and Jones 11 seconds back. That is your top 10. Blaney has done a fabulous job of getting himself back established with the front runners of this race. He's been all over the place today. Doing Ryan Blaney things, isn't he, Kevin?
Passing cars.
Every week, it's the same thing. And ultimately, this is just a day where you can't go to the back. You can't go to the back one time and make it all the way back to the front when you have a decent car. Reddick has a spectacular car and was able to get himself back up to the front of the field. But Ryan Blaney, as he does week in and week out, does a nice job. And what a difference in 2 stories between Ryan Blaney and the car behind him, Joey Logano. Who would have thought the champ would be 34th right now?
3 laps down. There is Ryan Blaney's day in a graph. He has passed a lot of cars.
Speaking of passing, see Reddick passing Briscoe for second.
Tyler Reddick talking about what happened between he and Chris Buescher as Buescher was trying to enter the pit. That spotter Nick Payne up on the roof.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I just don't know that the chances were taken right there from the 17 car standpoint. I mean, they're still running pretty good, but their chance to win this race is over unless the caution or something crazy happens here at the end of this race. So tough break for Chris Buescher and that 17 group. And you know, you hear him talking about nobody wanting to wave their hand up here to let you know when they're pitting, and that's because nobody wants to let their strategy out.
Right.
I like it.
8 seconds back. Coming up next, around the turn on FS1, well, there are no turns at the Arizona Nationals. It's drag racing, NHRA style. That's next on FS1. Next Sunday at 1 p.m. on Fox, IndyCar racing outside Birmingham, Alabama, Butler Motorsports Park. And then next Sunday on FS1, NASCAR is at Martinsville, 3:30 Eastern Time. Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, 4th place.
Yeah, I think both of these cars we thought were decent yesterday. I don't think any of us thought that they could keep up with the 45 of Tyler Reddick, who still has the fastest car and was the fastest car yesterday. So,
Look at that lap time right there, Kevin. You're so spot on. Flying out there, Tyler Reddick. You better run, Keselowski. He's coming.
I don't think he's going to be able to run. He just doesn't have the tire advantage that Tyler Reddick in that 45 has, on top of the fact that Reddick's car has been that much better than everybody else. So you give the fastest car in the field the freshest tires, and here you go. He held out for the lead as long as he could before coming into the pits, and now he's looking to capitalize here shortly. Brad Keselowski leads by 0.7 of a second as of right now, and unless a caution comes out, I don't see any way that Tyler Reddick does not win this race. Brad's going to make his car wide. I'm sure he is going to do whatever it takes to try to hold on for the race win. It has been 2 years since he has gone to victory lane in the NASCAR Cup side, and the last time was at this track in the spring of 2024. Tyler Reddick, meanwhile, it's only been 3 races since his last win, and he won 3 consecutive in the midst of that streak to start the 2026 season. Already a historic feat. If he can win 4 out of the first 6, and even more so be a historic feat. And Reddick is all over the back bumper of Brad Keselowski on entry into turns 1 and 2. They both had to enter low because the lap car of A.J. Allmendinger was up around the outside. Reddick just a couple car lengths back. Turns 1 and 2 starting off down towards the bottom of the racetrack. All 4 tires below the white hash line. Not so much the case for Keselowski, but still in their own rights, diamonding the corner off. Reddick looking low through 3 and 4. Not all the way to the bottom, but enough so to get a full car of clean air on the 6th car of Brad Keselowski. Brad gets the run off the high side, and the longer they can go into this run, the more likely the tires are to even out over the course of the run. So Reddick's probably going to want to get this pass done as quickly as he can. Great over-under move. Made it look easy through 1 and 2. Slides past Keselowski and nabs the lead. This is the first time that Tyler Reddick has led today since all the way back at stage 1 after he started on the pole and led the first 45 laps. Before, proceeding in the next 45 laps, Brad Keselowski led to go on to win stage 1. Nobody has won stage 2 and has won a cup race so far this season through the first 5 races. Brad Keselowski won stage 2 here today, and he might not win this race either. He's got speed to do so, but he's going to need a caution to bail him out right now because Tyler Reddick in that 45 is looking bad fast. That was a 16th lead change of the day, and we are down under 30 laps to go. 27, now 26 this time by at the line. We'll go through the full field running order. Tyler Reddick leads. Brad Keselowski in second. Chase Briscoe third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Ty Gibbs in fifth. And Chris Buescher sixth. Austin Cindric seventh. William Byron 8th, Kyle Larson 9th, Daniel Suarez rounding out the top 10. 11th is Carson Hocevar, Eric Jones 12th, Ryan Preece 13th, Denny Hamlin 14th, and Ross Chastain 15th. 16th is Christopher Bell, Shane Van Gisbergen 17th, Chase Elliott 18th, Kyle Busch 19th, and 20th is Zane Smith. 21st, Connor Zilic. 22nd, Josh Berry. Austin Dillon 23rd, Justin Allgaier 24th, and Michael McDowell 25th is the last car currently on the lead lap. Todd Gilliland in 26th, a lap down. Noah Gragson 27th, John Hunter Nemechek 28th, Cole Custer 29th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 30th. 31st for Ty Dillon, AJ Allmendinger 32nd, 33rd Joey Logano, Riley Herbst 34th, Bubba Wallace 35th, 36th Cody Ware, and Timmy Hill off track in 37th. That is your full 37 car field. Most positions gained since the restart. Ryan Blaney up 16 spots to get to 4th place. 9 positions gained for both Reddick and Keselowski, who restarted in 10th and 11th. 7 spots gained for Hocevar to get back in the top 10 to 7th place. Denny Hamlin up 9 as well after restarting towards the back of that lengthy pit stop in stage 2 after something was going wrong with the right side of his car at the end of that second stage. So those are the biggest movers since the restart so far. And as of right now, we have gone green for over 65 consecutive laps. We have seen the final pit stop of the day. If it stays green in the event of a caution, we're definitely going to see everybody come down for 4 fresh tires as they have more than 20 laps on their tires. And over the course of 20 laps, we see about 2 seconds of fall off during the course of a run. Fastest car on the racetrack that last lap was actually 4th place Ryan Blaney with a 32.454. That was about 2/10 faster than the 3 cars in front of him, Reddick, Keselowski, Briscoe. Problem is that Blaney is 7.5 seconds off the lead with just about 23 laps to go, so he doesn't have a lot of time to get up there. He is still about 3 seconds off of Briscoe, the next spot in front of him in 3rd as well. Mike, thanks for tuning in. Mike G, also welcome to the stream. We got 2 mics. Thank you all for watching. We did just get to our like goal of 150 likes on the stream, so thank you so much for that. Still be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content on the channel. Live commentary streams like this every race weekend for Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series racing. Start times for next week's stream are going to look like this on the channel. Let me go to NASCAR.com so I make sure that everything is going to be correct there. All right, so next Sunday, that time in O'Reilly on Saturday afternoon. Okay, so start times for next weekend's live commentary slate. We'll begin things on Saturday afternoon with a doubleheader of Cup Series practice and qualifying, followed by the O'Reilly Series race. Our Cup Series practice and qualifying stream next Saturday will begin at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So 12:30 p.m. Eastern in the afternoon. And then at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live for the O'Reilly Auto Parts race later on that day. Now, the Cup race next Sunday, we will be live at 3 p.m. Eastern for a 400-lap race at Martinsville Speedway. Half-mile paperclip short track. So back-to-back racetracks where the driver is going to mean everything when it comes to these racetracks in the way of making fast laps and making clean, efficient passes. Maybe not the cleanest at times at Darlington with scraping the wall. Maybe next week not the cleanest car to car when it comes to maybe some contact here and there as well. 20 laps to go. We'll take our final break. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of this year's Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Brad Keselowski doing the best that he possibly can to try to get back into contention with Tyler Reddick. Reddick, who had the slightly fresher tires at the beginning of the run, able to take advantage and get to the lead, but the longer the run goes, we've seen that 6 car have a lot of long run speed. Was he maybe holding back, trying to save tires for a late dash to get back by Reddick in the closing laps? 20 laps is a long time at Darlington, and he's just over 1 second off of the lead. So it is very, very much obtainable that he could run him back down. In that last lap, Keselowski at 32.703 to Reddick's 32.757. So he's about 500ths quicker. Ryan Blaney over a tenth faster, 32.605, and he is getting up to Chase Briscoe pretty quickly. Blaney, that is, in third. He is less than 2 seconds behind him now. And it was about a 3 to 3.5 second gap just a few laps ago. It's about 2 to 3 tenths of a second faster lap than Briscoe. Briscoe's not running anywhere near the same lap times that the 45 and the 6 are running. So while Blaney's the fastest car on the track, Briscoe not able to keep pace with the cars around him in the running order at this point in the run. He fired off great on the short run at the beginning of Stage 3 when he took the lead for that short bit of time before the quick caution for the Riley Herbst spin off of Turn 4. Carson Hocevar, who's got fresher tires, he pitted around the same time Tyler Reddick did, but was further back in the running order, so he's trying to capitalize on slightly fresher tires than those around him. Hocevar able to make a pass on Austin Cindric that last time through turns 1 and 2 for 7th. I would like to think he should catch Buescher pretty soon. He's within a second of Buescher and about 2 seconds behind Ty Gibbs for 5th. But over 11 seconds out of the lead. Brad's falling back now. He must have got caught in lap traffic because he was 6 tenths off of Reddick that last lap. They're kind of trading lap times back and forth for a bit, and then Reddick put down the fastest lap of any driver that last time by, even faster than the 12 car who was outpacing him back in the 4th place position for several consecutive laps. Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, a battle for 5th. Carson Hocevar not too far behind both cars. So it's going to be a 3-car battle for position. Buescher a little loose on the bottom lane. Through the center of turns 1 and 2, staying loose up by the exit. Pulls up in front of Hocevar off the exit of the corner. And Carson's going to try to get them both. 17 made a dive to the bottom to try to get back to the inside of the 54. The 77 beats both cars down there. 3 wide off the exit of the corner. Contact amongst all 3 of them. Nobody wanted to give an inch in that battle for 5th. Hocevar up now on the outside of the 17 car of Chris Buescher, and he will clear him off turn 2 for 6th. And Cindric will go after Buescher now for 7th, just out of the rearview mirror of the 77. Slide job for Cindric. He's clear in the center of the corner. Got very loose in front of the 17, and I think Buescher had to lift to keep it off the back of him. In the center of the corner, now Byron in the 24 car is in the picture. Meanwhile, while that was going on between the 2 at 17, a clean pass through 3 and 4 as well happened for Hocevar as he gets by Gibbs for 5th place. Ryan Blaney further up ahead, now into 3rd after getting by Chase Briscoe for that spot. 11 laps to go here at Darlington. Laps are going by the wayside quickly. For everybody but probably Tyler Reddick, who is going to be exhausted when this race is done because he has been without a cool suit pretty much all afternoon, having voltage problems in the first stage. Blaney is over 5 seconds behind Keselowski for 2nd, so I don't think he's going to be able to get another spot there. Carson Hocevar looking pretty good on this longer run. I think he's going to have a shot to get to Briscoe for 4th, maybe Blaney for 3rd, depending on how lap traffic might play into effect. Not sure how many more cars that the 3rd through 5th place drivers are going to catch. 8 laps to go this time by for Tyler Reddick. It wasn't a dominating effort from the pole, but he definitely had of the fastest, if not the fastest car. Found his way back to the lead, currently 67 laps led for the 45 versus 142 for Brad Keselowski. Hocevar trucking along. I believe this would be his first top 5 of the season if he can hold on. He was near the front late at Atlanta, and I think he fell out of the top 5 in that final restart. You can see Chase Briscoe up the way out of the front bumper of that 77 car. Within a second of the 19. Reddick still got about a 3.3 second lead over Brad Keselowski. Reddick not wasting any more time to try to get past one of those front row motorsport Fords and put another car a lap down. The more lap cars he can put between himself and second place in the event of a caution, it's going to give him more grace period for a pit stop to help himself win the race off pit road. And having that number 1 pit box as well also going to help. So there is not maybe a sense of urgency to pass those cars, but it is worth passing as many lap cars as he possibly can. Hocevar did just catch Briscoe for 4th and makes the pass for position through turns 1 and 2. Coming up on 5 laps to go this time by. 77 car is the fastest on the racetrack. And again, he pitted at about the same lap that Tyler Reddick did, but was just further back in the running order. Reddick was battling for the 2nd place position at the time of him making the stop. Later into the run, Carson Hocevar was running between 7th and 9th. Running long looked like it was going to work for Reddick all the way back in stage 1 had he not had a slow pit stop. Didn't have the slow one this time and was able to get to the lead in plenty of time and now has a 4.1 second advantage. Problems for Kyle Larson in the 5 car. Looks like he might have a toe leg break as that right rear tire is all over the place as he is going to try to get to pit road. And he is not going to make it into the pits this time. He's going to have to go the full length of the way around the racetrack again with just 4 laps to go. So Reddick hoping that this isn't going to bring out a caution. I trust Kyle Larson's driving ability that he's going to be able to get it back into the pits. You just got to hope for some reason that right rear tire doesn't come up off of that race car or anything of that nature that could warrant a yellow flag by way of debris. Larson just circuiting off of turn 2. He should make it into the pits now as he limps his way back around again. It's such a tough pit road to get onto, though, and I think he's just going to try to ride it out on the apron for these final couple laps as he loses positions. Larson already falling out of the top 20, but I guess maybe he can finish this race like a lap down and salvage a couple extra spots versus just coming onto pit road and surrendering in the final 4 laps or so. Tyler Reddick probably hears that over the radio, and he's like, get me to the white flag now. We have 2 laps to go. He's got 1 more lap to get to the white. Oh, we got a couple cars up against the wall now. Chase Briscoe, Riley Herbst. Briscoe tried to get by the lapper and was unable to do so successfully. Cindric now moves into 5th. Briscoe loses another spot. With 2 laps to go, Ty Gibbs will pass him for 6th as well. And finally coming to the white flag is Tyler Reddick as we stayed green through all of it. Over a 5-second lead for Tyler Reddick in the 45, as if he is going to hold on for 1 more lap, which he should. It will be the 4th win in the first 6 races of 2026, and he will grow the points lead out even further yet again. What a season for this 45 team at 2311 Racing. Checkered flag in the air. Reddick is a winner as he works his way off of turn 4 here at Darlington. First win at Darlington Raceway in Reddick's career. Congratulations to him. Brad Keselowski comes home in second, 5.7 seconds off of the race leader, Tyler Reddick. Ryan Blaney third, Carson Hocevar fourth, and Austin Cindric rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Gibbs' top 5 streak ends with a 6th place finish. 7th place for Daniel Suarez, William Byron 8th, Chris Buescher 9th, and Chase Briscoe finishes 10th. Eric Jones in 11th, Denny Hamlin 12th, Ryan Preece 13th, Shane Van Gisbergen 14th, and Chase Elliott 15th. Ross Chastain 16th, 17th was Josh Berry. Connor Zilic 18th, Christopher Bell 19th, was the first car to finish a lap down, so 18 cars on the lead lap at the end of it today. Michael McDowell in 20th, Kyle Busch 21st, Zane Smith 22nd, Todd Gilliland 23rd, Justin Allgaier 24th, Austin Dillon 25th, Noah Gragson in 26th, 27th, John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer 28th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 29th, and AJ Allmendinger in 30th. Ty Dillon 31st, Kyle Larson 32nd, Joey Logano 33rd, Bubba Walls 34th, Riley Herbst 35th, Cody Ware in 36th, and Timmy Hill 37th, rounding out the field. 4 cautions, 2 for incident, 1 in stage 2, 1 in stage 3, both early in the stage, and then the 2 stage ends at lap 90 and lap 185. 3 hours, 4 minutes, and 55 seconds total time for today's 400-mile, 293-lap race, the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Here's Michael Jordan with Jamie Little.
Respect.
Key to him winning was, just keeping his head. I think Billy did a good job of trying to keep him calm. We knew we had a fast car. We knew we on a 30-lap run, we were real good. On a short lap run, we were real good. So we just had to get the car right. And, he kept his composure, and I think he did an unbelievable job.
I know you're so competitive. How fun is that when you know he's down and out and watching him come to the field?
Well, I just wanted everything to be, good. Once he gets back out there, then I feel like his competitive juices are going to carry him all the way to the end. And, those are the longest 18 to 20 laps that I can even imagine. I just didn't want to see a caution. A caution would have changed everything. But he did the job. He earned it all week. And I'm real proud of the team.
Congratulations, 4th win on the season.
Thank you. So let me correct this.
Career high in wins, by the way, for Tyler Reddick in a single season. He matched his career high in the first 3 races, and after race 6, he already sets his career high. He's got 4. How many more is he going to get in 2026 at this rate? I mean, this is unbelievable. His second win out of the first 3 races with 750 horsepower package. That is noteworthy, and we have a couple more 750 horsepower package races the next 2 weeks at Martinsville and Bristol. What a season.
Tyler Reddick with family in tow. He's going to grab the checkered flag in front of Darlington Raceway. After what was an absolutely incredible performance. Tyler, the stat sheet's going to say you started first and finished first today, but there's a whole lot more than that in the middle of this race. When you're on pit road changing a battery about 50 laps in, did you think it was going to be possible?
I know never to give up. And I think it's very fitting that when we finally get our first win here at Darlington, that the Lady in Black would test us like that. We've been so close so many times, and lap 1, we had the charging problem where the battery wasn't charging at all. So all day long, just not running fans, sweating my tail inside the race car, and we knew it was gonna be physical. So yeah, I don't know. Really wore out, but
I guess I don't need as much of that cooling stuff as I normally have.
I'd be careful saying that too loud. Billy Scott might not like you have it next week. You've been runner-up 3 times here at Darlington. I know how much you wanted this one. You just mentioned a second ago how much it means to you. But Darlington, this is the place that's too tough to tame, and you finally done it.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I made my first lap here in O'Reilly Auto Parts car, there's just something about this racetrack that's so special, just so challenging, and it's been really fun for my evolution as a driver over the years. My time in an O'Reilly Auto Parts car, my time at RCR, and what we perfected, my time here at 2311. So just really proud of everybody, and it's cool to get Boss Man his 4th win on the year.
Tyler Reddick wins his 4th of the season.
3rd driver to win his 4th race in the first 6 races of a Cup Series season. The others, Dale Earnhardt in 87 and 1992, Bill Elliott. Here's Brad Keselowski, who finished 2nd.
Drove a hell of a race, and he's driving a rocket, and he's making it count right now. So I think we got the most out of the day. We were going to get honest. But we scored a lot of stage points, 6th place, 1st place loser, but that's okay. We're doing the things we need to do and making the most of the days we have, and it's really cool to have the great buildup cars running up front. I put a nice right side stripe on the car. I think that would make Greg proud. If you know Greg, you understand that one, but a good day for us on coming Ford Mustang.
Best finish of the season so far for Brad Keselowski, Joey.
What a drive for Ryan Blaney. Talk about overcoming issues.
Blaney finishing 3rd.
Like Phoenix came up just 48 cars. Again, Ryan, take me through the emotions of your day.
No less than Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, a solid car all day. I thought we had good speed, especially long run speed, and yeah, just stuff we got to work on pit road. So hopefully we'll get better at that, address the issues that we got, and go forward. But that's really all we can do. But I'm really proud of the 12 guys for bringing me a good car and getting it better all day and kind of adjusting to where we were in the pack. That's kind of a tough way to do it. But appreciate Menards, Delta, Ford Racing, Boys of Wabash, Body Armor, Advanced Auto Parts, Dex Imaging, everything for what everybody does on this program, the Worth Group. So yeah, good showing. A lot of fun today, sliding around, and I thought the package was really, really fun. You could kind of make it angry, and you were going to pay the price, so that's pretty good. And I think it was the first time in my Cup career that I've let guys go on a restart or on a green flag cycle, and I said to myself, I'm going to see you in about 20, and that happened all the time. So I think we're making progress on that. So just we'll keep going, but like I said, proud of the fight by the 12 guys.
Well done. Ryan Blaney brings it home 3rd. Mike.
4th win for Tyler.
4 wins for Tyler Reddick. Unbelievable start to this season. I will see you guys next weekend for the next set of live commentary streams. Thank you so much for watching today's stream and this weekend streams as a whole. We did get to our like goal of 150 likes today, so thank you so much for that as well. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We'll be live again at 3:30 p.m. Eastern for the O'Reilly race on Saturday and 3 p.m. Eastern for the Cup race on Sunday. Trucks will be off again. And then we'll also be live at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturday for the NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying session for Martinsville Speedway. So again, Martinsville next week, paperclip, 400 lap race there. Hope to see you for that one and much more. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday evening, and I'll see you next weekend.